Chapter 388. Inside the Star Tower. Red-robed Dongbu Shuiying, Chao Qing, Mountain Lord He, Qiu Qi Bai, City Lady Bu, and Jing Qiu were all present. There's no other way, Dongbu Shuiying said in a low voice. In order to break open that black flower, the only way is to find a way to increase my strength as quickly as possible. My three true intents have all reached the peak of the third stage and I'm just a step away from the deity heart realm. As long as I break through, my strength will be able to increase, and I'll have hope of breaking open that black flower. What I need now is time. Without anyone presiding over the Star Pagoda, it will require a total of 200,000 divinity crystals per year. I have a total of 600,000 divinity crystals stored here so it can last for at least 3 years. Dongbu Shuiying continued, controlling the Star Pagoda places a huge burden on the soul. Right now Jing Qiu and Mountain Lord He are controlling it so they can take turns to rest. But even so, controlling the entire Star Pagoda is still a huge burden on their souls. They can't really use all their strength to control it. So, I hope that Senior Chao Qing and Big Brother Eternal Wind can start studying the Star Pagoda's formation. We can help them share the burden. The array of the Star Pagoda was very complicated. The more he exerted himself, the greater the pressure on his soul. That's why I need to rest. In fact, he could not go all out when he was controlling it, just a little control would suffice. All right. Chao Qing nodded. I'm just afraid that this old man isn't strong enough. I will also do my best, Qiu Qi Bai also said. Yes, just try your best. The red-robed Dongbu Shuiying nodded. His cultivation level was high enough, but this battle chi clone only contained a trace of his soul. There were many complicated operations that required the main body to think about. Right now, the main body was cultivating with all his might, wanting to make a breakthrough as soon as possible. Naturally, this battle chi avatar could not affect the main body. Immediately, Jing Qiu and Mountain Lord He took the lead, while Qiu Qi Bai and Chao Qing, the two non-master cultivators, also began to ponder. After all, they had to pick the tall ones out of the short ones. Although the two of them were not mages, their level was not bad. Buzz buzz buzz. A large number of spell formations were operating, coordinating with each other. The power of the divine crystals was constantly surging, forming a cycle. This way they could minimize losses. This is truly... Qiu Bai was also somewhat shocked. I've never studied spirit designs before. Chao Qing gritted his teeth and began to comprehend them. Days passed by. Both sides fell into a stalemate. With the suppression of the Star Pagoda's world force, the great demon god was unable to build anything. They could only slowly wear it out. They knew how shocking the level 12 Star Pagoda's consumption of god crystals was. It would not be long before the Star Pagoda ran out of energy and could no longer be maintained. So they waited patiently. At the same time, the sorcerer god was also playing his musical instrument. He did not want to give Dongbu Shuiying a chance to cultivate in peace. It has been half a year since we trapped Dongbu Shuiying. The great demon god suddenly waved his hand, and the green leaf space was immediately sealed, and the outside world could no longer see inside. It's time to carry out the other plan. Another plan? The sorcerer god stopped playing and looked at the great demon god. The plan to accelerate the collapse of the Star Tower world. The great demon god smiled. Sorcerer god, let me introduce you to one of my subordinates. A mysterious man in dark red armor and a bull-horned helmet walked over from among his subordinates. Child, let the sorcerer god take a look at you, the great demon god said proudly. The mysterious man immediately took off his mask, revealing a handsome face. Qiu Qi Bai? The sorcerer god exclaimed. Before Dongbu Shuiying and Yuan Qin, he was the #1 genius of the Xia people. This face belonged to Qiu Qi Bai. Qiu Qi Bai, isn't he in the Star Tower? The sorcerer god could not help but ask. Have you forgotten to cultivate the avatar technique? The great demon god laughed. You let him cultivate the avatar technique? The sorcerer god was extremely shocked. When did you cultivate it? Cultivating the avatar technique will split one's soul into two, which will greatly reduce one's comprehension ability. The great demon god nodded. This child Eternal Wind's comprehension ability is very high. If not for cultivating the avatar technique, I'm afraid his achievements would be much higher. Qiu Qi Bai, who was wearing a dark red armor, stood there without saying a word. When this child's true love died, he went crazy and actually comprehended the embryonic form of the grade 2 true meaning, the true meaning of great annihilation. Such a talent is something I like very much, so I helped him out. The great demon god laughed. This child's wife is also very talented. I've long lured her into the dark abyss. temporarily living in my world as a soul to protect her from destruction. The true meaning of great annihilation? The sorcerer god was shocked. Oh, then the true meaning of void cleavage that he revealed to the public was a part of his true strength? Void cleavage is just a branch of the true meaning of great annihilation. The great demon god nodded. In order to hide his strength well enough, I let him cultivate the avatar technique. His other body does not have a single trace of demonic energy, so it is impossible for it to be exposed. Emin, the sorcerer god nodded. Are you ready to let him act now? Haha, the war is about to end. The Xia people have no value anymore. The great demon god nodded. It's time for this child Eternal Wind to act. How will he act? The sorcerer god asked. The Xia people are very cautious. If my guess is correct, the Xia people are definitely working hard to control the Star Pagoda. They are doing their best to save God crystals in order to stall for time. The great demon god said, and this child Eternal Wind's realm is high enough. As long as he publicly announces that he has broken through and grasped a grade 3 deity heart, then Dongbua Shuiying will definitely try to let Eternal Wind control the Star Pagoda. Dongbua Shuiying probably won't let them have the chance to destroy the Star Pagoda's arrays, the sorcerer god said. As long as he can control it, Eternal Wind will be able to understand the layout of the entire Star Pagoda. It's just like how Dongbua Shuiying's God Fire Thunder can easily destroy a fort from the inside. This Star Pagoda has a membrane that cannot be broken through, but the interior is much weaker. As long as we understand the layout and let Eternal Wind attack its weak points, we will definitely succeed. The great demon god laughed. Even if we fail, we won't suffer any losses. The sorcerer god nodded. Based on what he knew, the interior of the Star Pagoda did indeed have many crucial points. For example, the place where God crystals were stored, or the many cores that operated the arrays. Child. The great demon god's face was filled with flames. The corners of his lips curled upwards as he looked at Qiu Qi Bai. It's just sacrificing that avatar of yours. I believe that with your intelligence, you will definitely give me a pleasant surprise. Go tell Dongbua Shuiying and the rest that you have already attained a grade 3 deity heart. Dongbua Shuiying will definitely take the initiative to invite you to control the Star Pagoda. Right now he doesn't have many good helpers. Reporting to the great demon god, Qiu Qi Bai said respectfully, Dongbua Shuiying has already allowed me to try controlling it half a year ago. Haha. The great demon god's entire body was covered in flames. He looked at the sorcerer god beside him. Sorcerer god, am I right? There's no need for Eternal Wind to say that he has attained a grade 3 deity heart. Dongbua Shuiying is already under his control. Ah, the heavens are truly helping me. Bang. Qiu Qi Bai, who was standing respectfully by the side, suddenly stabbed out with his right palm without any warning. Wearing his black armor, his palm was like a blade, bringing with it waves of destruction as it pierced into the great demon god's body. The great demon god's body seemed to be covered in endless darkness. Qiu Qi Bai's palm pierced through the great demon god's chest. The great demon god turned his head to look at him like a dark shadow. His eyes were filled with blood-colored flames as he let out a furious roar. Qiu Qi Bai, you actually dared to betray me. The great demon god waved his hand, and the soul within Qiu Qi Bai's body started to leave. The great demon god's flaming palm grabbed onto Qiu Qi Bai's soul. Chi sounds could be heard as Qiu Qi Bai's expression turned malevolent. Don't you want to reunite with your wife? She is waiting for you in the dark abyss. I have long promised you and even made an abyssal oath for you. In the future I will definitely let you and your wife live together. Why did I trust you so much? Why did you betray me? The great demon god was incomparably furious, while the sorcerer god sneered at him from the side. Qiu Qi Bai's soul had a malevolent expression as he let out a furious roar. His powerful soul caused his voice to reverberate within the red leaf space. Great demon god, I was loyal to you because I wanted to be with my wife forever. Even if you wanted me to kill a few transcendents of the Xia people, I would not refuse. But, you wanted me to betray the entire Xia people. You wanted the entire Xia people to be exterminated. From the day I found out about your plan, I understood that I would never be able to be with my wife again. For many years, Qiu Qi Bai had always been faintly sad. Si Kong Yang, Dongbua Shuiying, and the others all thought that it was because of the emotional wounds he had suffered in the past. Who knew that it was because he was a member of the demonic faction that caused him to constantly blame himself. You have always been on guard against me. You never told me about your doppelganger, Qiu Qi Bai said in a low voice. I wasn't on guard against you. I was on guard against all my subordinates, the great demon god said coldly. Haha, I was waiting for an opportunity. Unfortunately, I never had a good opportunity to act. Even this sacred sorcerer camellia, I wanted to find its core and destroy it, but I couldn't find it. Qiu Qibai roared, Great demon god, I couldn't find an opportunity. But you still couldn't win. I believe that Snow Eagle would definitely have a way. The Xia people would definitely emerge victorious in the end. I let my wife down. But she was already dead. I treated her as dead. What I hate the most is, I never found an opportunity. Qiu Qibai gritted his teeth. I don't dare to fully trust any of you subordinates. The great demon god said coldly, Don't worry. Since you betrayed the oath, your soul will forever be under my control. I won't kill you, but I will continue to torture your soul. Not only you but also your wife. Both of your souls will suffer eternal torment. All of this is because of your stupidity today. The great demon god kept Qiu Qibai's soul. Because of the oath, Qiu Qibai couldn't even self-destruct his soul. Great demon god, it seems that you overestimated the loyalty of your demonic faction's subordinates. The sorcerer god laughed. For the sake of the Xia people, you actually disregarded everything. The great demon god gritted his teeth. Xia people? Damn Xia people. What happened this time made him feel ashamed. The red-robed Dongbua Shuiying was currently in the Star Pagoda. He was looking at the huge black flower swaying in the distant desert. His main body was trapped within the flower. As time passed, his battle chi was constantly dissipating. However, the battle chi avatar's strength was limited. Without the blood drinker spear, it couldn't do anything. AI. Dongbua Shuiying sighed softly. Suddenly, a message was transmitted to his communication wristband. Snow Eagle, this is Eternal Wind. I am the third priest of the demonic faction. My hands are stained with the blood of many Xia people. I am the sinner of the Xia people. Was a letter. Dongbua Shuiying only needed to sense it for a moment before his figure flashed. Shua. The battle chi avatar instantly arrived at Qiu Qibai's residence. Qiu Qibai's thick white robes and white hair fluttered in the wind. He was sitting cross-legged with a calm expression. However, his soul had already passed away, leaving behind only his flesh body. Eternal Wind. Dongbua Shuiying clenched his fists tightly, his body faintly trembling. Why is it like this? Why, star? Chapter 389. Dongbua Shuiying was truly heartbroken. Ever since he joined the Transcendence, Qi Qiubai had been taking care of him like an elder brother. But now he was dead. He was not willing to betray the Xia people, so he chose to betray the great demon god. Changfeng. Many figures rushed over one after another. Mountain Lord He, Palace Lord Qin, Xikong Yang, Chao-Ching, City Lord Bu, and the rest all arrived. Looking at Qi Qiubai, who was sitting cross-legged without any signs of life, they were all incomparably heartbroken. They had once placed boundless hope on Qi Qiubai. Even before Dongbua Shuiying's rise, they believed that Qi Qiubai would be the number one of the Xia people. Changfeng Yu, why did you? Xikong Yang's voice trembled. Once one is loyal to the great demon god and chooses to betray him, it will be more painful than death. Chao Qing also shook his head. Changfeng's soul has already been captured and he can neither live nor die. I'm afraid his soul will suffer eternal torture. It's all because of this war. Palace Lord Qin gritted his teeth in pain. If not for this war, why would the great demon god try so hard to seduce the transcendence of the Xia people, and even deliberately led Changfeng's wife into the dark abyss? One wrong step and every step will be wrong. Grand Elder Palace had said in a low voice. Choosing to be loyal to the great demon god is equivalent to giving your soul to the great demon god. Xikong Yang's voice trembled. He was truly heartbroken. In his eyes, Qi Qiubai was the next Water Daoist faction head, and he had always regarded him as his own child. Dongbua Shuiying silently stood at the side. Brother Changfeng will not die in vain. Dongbua Shuiying softly said. In a hall of the Star Pagoda, the red-robed Dongbua Shuiying was sitting cross-legged. A figure condensed beside him. It was Jing Qiu's image. She had already stopped controlling the Star Pagoda and was resting. Snow Eagle. Jing Qiu walked over, her face slightly pale. Jing Qiu, it's been hard on you. Dongbua Shuiying stood up. It's nothing. Compared to you guys, this is nothing. Jing Qiu said softly, I saw Brother Eternal Wind's letter. I was thinking, if Senior Brother Snow Eagle's soul was led into the dark abyss by the great demon god, in order to reunite with you forever, I'm afraid I would have made the same choice as Brother Eternal Wind. After all, We didn't know that the great demon god wanted to destroy the entire Xia people. Dongbu Shuang nodded his head. Throughout history, the demonic faction has been selfish for generations. However, at most, they have fought for the faith of the people. They have never wanted to destroy the entire Xia people. Big Brother Eternal Wind has fallen. There's no turning back. Jing Qiu looked outside through the star pagoda. I'm wondering if Big Brother Eternal Wind's soul is being tortured right now, and if Big Brother Eternal Wind's wife is also suffering. Dongbu Shuang nodded his head lightly, but his heart was heavy. He wanted to save her, but he was powerless. Jing Qiu said, "It's not scary to have one's soul suffer eternal torture. What's scary is, because of one's own decision, the soul of one's beloved will also suffer eternal torture. This is the most sorrowful and shameful thing." Dongbu Shuang was startled. Right. He hadn't realized this point, and had chosen to betray the great demon god. Yet, he had also caused the soul of his beloved to suffer eternal torture. This was probably the greatest pain in his heart. Damn it. It's all because of this war. Dongbu Shuang said in a low voice. The sorcerer god and the great demon god. For the sake of Crimson Rock Mountain, the Xia people are nothing but ants in their eyes. No matter what, we must not let them have their way. No matter what price we have to pay, we must win this war. We will definitely win. Jing Qiu held Dongbu Shuang's hand. I believe that you will definitely be able to break that black flower. Far away in the dark abyss. The great demonic god, Hao, was sitting on his throne with a cold expression on his face. He knew very well how much Qi Qiubai valued his wife. He felt that as long as he held her soul in his hands, Qi Qiubai would definitely obediently work for him. There was no way he would betray her, but reality had given him a harsh slap. Of course, even though they had the absolute advantage in this war, Hao was still able to maintain his calm. Within his body, there was a seemingly small dot, but that dot was actually a vast world. As a world deity, the deity Xi within his body had long since evolved into a world of its own. This was also the reason why world deities were able to receive souls. A black-robed woman was currently tied to a rack and being whipped. She was a soul, so the whip she was lashed with flowed divine runes. Every lash caused her to howl in pain. Just 100 meters away from her, a crystal ball floated. Countless flames burned within the crystal ball, and the faint silhouette of a person could be seen within. This was Qi Qiubai's soul. The pain caused by the hellish flames caused Qi Qiubai to tremble uncontrollably. No. Qi Qiubai stared at the woman being whipped and couldn't help but shout in disbelief. No, don't. Qi Qiubai. I want you to watch your true love suffer countless tortures day and night. Don't worry, she won't be able to see you. She will never be able to see you. You will never be able to speak a single word to her. I will let you suffer all sorts of tortures, ha ha ha. Don't worry, this is only the beginning. The real show is yet to come. I really want to see if you, who are so loyal to the Xia people, will turn into a vengeful spirit under my torture. The voice of the great demon god reverberated within the crystal ball. Inside the crystal ball, Qi Qiubai stared at the woman being punished in the distance. He felt an incomparable pain in his heart. How he wished he could take her place. Little she. Qi Qiubai stretched out his right hand and muttered, I'm sorry. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, 2 years had passed. The star pagoda, the fortress, and the black flower were still in that vast desert. Dongbu Shuiying's Qi avatar had tried all sorts of methods, even personally taking action. However, without the blood drinker spear, the threat of the Qi avatar was very low. No matter how Dongbu Shuiying struggled, the Qi avatar only lasted for close to a year before dissipating. Dongbu Shuiying's main body was trapped within the sacred sorcerer Camellia, practicing his spear arts every single day. Although the witch god played his musical instrument, the sound waves affected Dongbu Shuiying, causing him to be unable to calm his heart and deduce the profound mysteries of the true meanings. He didn't care about it and continued to practice his spear arts. Just like how he was unable to calm his heart and cultivate after being poisoned, he wholeheartedly practiced his spear arts. However, 2 years passed. He still wasn't able to break through this black flower. Out of the 3 true meanings, he wasn't able to reach the deity heart realm. He could somewhat feel the anxiety that Meishan Master, Ken Huang, and Persei felt when they were trapped in a bottleneck, unable to break through. Huge translucent black petals stacked on top of each other, forming a huge black flower with a circumference of 3,000 kilometers. Dongbu Shuiying stopped practicing his spear arts and looked at this huge flower. This was the cage that trapped him. It has already been 2 years, but I still haven't been able to break through. The star pagoda won't be able to hold on for much longer. Dongbo Shuang gripped the shaft of his spear. Woo woo woo, the sound waves of the witch god's musical instrument reverberated within the space of the black flower. Dongbo Shuang turned his head and looked coldly at the witch god and the great demon god in the distant red leaf space. After which, he continued practicing his spear arts. These days he had been practicing his spear arts like a madman, because he had too many burdens on his shoulders. Chapter 390. Inside the Star Pagoda. Mountain Lord He, who was sitting cross-legged and comprehending the profound mysteries of the array, suddenly frowned. No, something isn't right. Snow Eagle. Mountain Lord He stood up and shouted, his voice reverberating in the sealed hall. A figure condensed beside him. Dongbo Shuang had refined the Star Pagoda and could borrow its world energy to sense his surroundings. Naturally, he could also temporarily condense an incarnation inside the Star Pagoda. Mountain Lord He, what's the matter? Dongbo Shuang was puzzled. When he was trapped inside the Black Flower, Chao Qing, Palace Lord Qin, and the others would not easily disturb him. There's a very important matter. I didn't want to disturb you, but after some hesitation, I feel that something isn't right. I still have to tell you. Mountain Lord He frowned. It's regarding Mage Jingqiu. Jingqiu. What happened to her? Dongbo Shuang was shocked. Controlling the Star Pagoda takes a huge toll on the soul. Mountain Lord He said, that's why you asked me and Chao Qing to help Mage Jingqiu. But recently, to maintain the Star Pagoda, the consumption of deity crystals has been decreasing. I asked Mage Jingqiu, and she said that it's because of her understanding of arrays that she can reduce the consumption. But I feel that something isn't right. Something isn't right? Dongbo Shuang frowned. Yes, I've observed it carefully. In the past 2 years, when Mage Jingqiu controls the Star Pagoda, the consumption of deity crystals has decreased many times. Every time it decreases by a little, but if we add it up, the current consumption is only half of what it was at the start. Mountain Lord He frowned. This rate of improvement is not normal. I suspect that Mage Jingqiu is forcefully controlling the pagoda despite the damage to her soul. Mountain Lord He. Dongbo Shuang anxiously said, that's not possible. Her soul is damaged and the pain is incomparably intense. How can she control the array under such circumstances? Dongbo Shuang was very familiar with the pain of his soul dissipating when his Doqi avatar was destroyed. You've been poisoned, but can't you endure it? Mountain Lord He shook his head. You should ask Mage Jingqiu yourself. Even though enduring the damage to her soul can save on deity crystals and is considered a sacrifice for the Xia clan, but this was too eager for quick success. How long could she last if her soul continued to be damaged? After a long time, I'm afraid she'll faint. Okay, I'll go ask. Dongbo Shuang nodded. Since Mountain Lord He said this, he must have deduced it from the various clues. In another hall, Jingqiu, dressed in a light blue robe, sat cross-legged with her eyes closed. She was incomparably beautiful, like a fairy of the mortal world. Jingqiu. Dongbo Shuiying's figure materialized beside her. Snow Eagle, why are you here? Jingqiu opened her eyes. I'm controlling the Star Pagoda right now. We can talk later. No. Dongbo Shuiying looked at Jingqiu and carefully observed his wife's complexion. He couldn't help but ask, did you disregard the damage to your soul and forcefully control the Star Pagoda? Jingqiu was startled for a moment, then laughed lightly. Snow Eagle, why are you suddenly saying this? I've always been talented in formations, and I've also gained some insights at this critical juncture, which is why I've been able to reduce my consumption of divine crystals. Don't think too much about it. Should I ask Mountain Lord He to take a look? Dongbo Shuang asked. Jingqiu was startled. Take a look? Mountain Lord He only needed to send a strand of his mental energy into Jingqiu's sea of consciousness to easily check if her soul was damaged. All right. You guessed correctly. Jingqiu helplessly laughed. I knew you were smart. Dongbo Shuang looked at his wife's pale complexion and couldn't help but become anxious. Jingqiu, control the Star Pagoda. You can't force it. If your soul is under pressure, you should rest. How can you let your soul be damaged? I'm a little anxious. Jingqiu hastily said. Furthermore, it's just a little damage to your soul. It's not a big deal. You can just slowly recover from it. Now that we're at a critical juncture in the war, we just have to endure it. Then from today onwards, you should properly rest. You can only control the Star Pagoda for half the time. Wait until your soul has completely recovered before continuing. Dongbo Shuang said. No. Jing Qiu anxiously said without hesitation. Mountain Lord, his control isn't as good as mine, let alone Senior Chao Qing. How can I rest at a time like this? Snow Eagle, aren't I still fine? Don't worry, I can control it well. I told you to stop. Dongbo Shuiying looked at his wife. Jing Qiu had always admired Dongbo Shuiying. She had lived with Dongbo Shuiying for more than 100 years. The two of them were husband and wife, and when Dongbo Shuiying decided on something important, Jing Qiu wouldn't object. Dongbo Shuiying. Jing Qiu furrowed her brows and angrily said, I'm controlling the Star Pagoda to save you and the entire Xia people. Dongbo Shuiying anxiously shouted, you have to stop. If you don't stop, I can make it so that you can't control the Star Pagoda. Jing Qiu, you can't act recklessly with the damage to your soul. Jing Qiu looked at the most important person in her life. If you really do that, you're forcing me to die. Don't worry, if you don't let me control it, I will immediately commit suicide. Why are you? Dongbo Shuiying looked at his wife's expression and understood her determination. It's fine. Jing Qiu revealed a smile. It's really fine. I'm doing this for the sake of the Xia people. A little sacrifice is nothing. Moreover, if the damage to my soul is really severe, I will fall into a coma. At that time, I won't be able to control the Star Pagoda even if I want to. After I fall unconscious, as long as I rest well, I will gradually recover. At most, I won't be able to cultivate anymore, right? In any case, I'm already a demigod and can live for 3,000 years. Dongbo Shuiying couldn't persuade his wife and could only sigh inwardly. All right. Once the damage to the soul reaches a certain degree, one would fall into a coma. With his wife's demigod strength, her life wouldn't be in danger. All right. You can go. I still have to control the Star Pagoda. Jing Qiu hurriedly said. Dongbo Shuiying had no choice but to leave. Jing Qiu looked at Dongbo Shuiying's disappearing figure and muttered in her heart, Senior Apprentice Brother Snow Eagle, if I can't save you, we will never be able to meet again. To me, what difference is there between that and death? Following which, she calmed her heart and continued to control the Star Pagoda's array. Under the control of the complicated Star Pagoda's array, her already slightly damaged soul was under a huge burden. The damage was gradually worsening, and strands of soul energy were dissipating. However, Jing Qiu didn't care. She even discovered something. Even though my soul is damaged, my efficiency in comprehending the operation of countless arrays is actually getting higher and higher? That's right. It was a very strange phenomenon. It was as though she had broken free from a shackle and a burden. Her comprehension ability was actually increasing. Occasionally, she would have a flash of inspiration and see through more of the profound mysteries of the array. Jing Qiu was completely immersed in it as she continued to control the array. Senior Apprentice Brother Snow Eagle, you will definitely be able to come out. Year after year passed. Jing Qiu's face was getting paler and paler. However, her efficiency in controlling the Star Pagoda was getting higher and higher. This could no longer be explained by risking her life. Clearly, Jing Qiu's comprehension of the Star Pagoda's array was getting higher and higher. However, when he saw Jing Qiu's face getting paler and her aura getting weaker, Dongbo Shuiying became incomparably anxious. Don't worry, it's nothing. When I can't hold on any longer, I will faint. Don't worry. If you feel sorry for me, hurry up and break open that black flower. It's fine. My comprehension of arrays has increased again. I can still hold on. Jing Qiu consoled Dongbo Shuiying every single time. In the desert, the white-robed youth who was trapped within the black flower was currently practicing his spear arts. Amidst the music played by the sorcerer god, he was doing his best to practice his spear arts. 5 years. 5 years. I have yet to break through. My 3 true meanings have yet to break through. Why? Dongbo Shuiying's heart was burning with anger. Looking at his wife's increasingly pale face, he blamed himself. Why couldn't he break open this black flower? Why couldn't he break through even one of his 3 true meanings? Dongbo Shuiying's expression was savage as he glanced at the sorcerer god and the great demon god, who were both trapped within the red leaf space. I will definitely get out, definitely. Hong. Dongbo Shuiying was training his spear arts in a frenzy. He abandoned all distractions. The music played by the sorcerer god was much less disruptive to him compared to the start. He continued to ponder over each and every spear art, even going so far as to research world deity-ranked secret techniques. He wanted to comprehend more from them. Late at night, the moonlight was like a gauze, passing through the Star Pagoda's membrane and covering the vast desert. It even passed through the black flower and shone on Dongbu Shuiying's body. Dongbu Shuiying was still silently training his spear arts. Hong Long Long, suddenly, a gigantic illusory planet appeared behind Dongbu Shuiying's body. The planet was completely black, and it seemed to contain countless mysteries. Star Deity Heart? In the distant red leaf space, the expressions of the sorcerer god and the great demon god changed. The sorcerer god could not help but exclaim. Chapter 391. Dongbu Shuiying's mind was in a state of emptiness. The large amount of insights he had gained from the true meaning of star in the past instantly merged together perfectly. In the past, the true meaning of star Stage 1, Stage 2, and Stage 3 realms were akin to laying down the foundation of a tall building, erecting the supporting pillars and laying the floor tiles. Now that he had reached the deity heart realm, everything was perfect. It was akin to the countless corners of a tall building fitting together, with all sorts of intricate carvings. Only then could it be considered a complete entity. Star. Dongbu Shuiying felt like he was in a vast ocean of laws of heaven and earth. He was like a dark star, surrounded by boundless laws of profound mysteries. Only a portion of the profound mysteries of mirage and extreme piercing could be sensed. Star is truly incomparably mysterious. There are indeed many areas where my secret skill can be perfected. At the same time that Shuiying grasped hold of the star deity heart, he also immediately came up with many ways to improve the secret skills he had created based on the true meaning of star, great earth and chaotic suppression. At that moment, he opened his eyes, grasped the blood-drinking spear, and directly displayed the chaotic suppression. Boom, the spear's might was boundless and the dark star slowly revolved. The spear fiercely hacked down on the towering black flower petal. Countless runes revolved on the petal, and although it was shaking, it still managed to withstand the attack. Break for me. Dongbu Shuiying did not give up. He continued to hack down with his spear, and the chaotic suppression he executed became more and more profound. After all, he had just grasped the deity heart realm, and it would take some time for him to perfect his secret skill. The power of this secret skill continued to rise. The spear fiercely hacked down on the huge sacred sorcerer camellia, causing the petals to shake continuously. Within the space of the red leaf, the golden-robed sorcerer god, the great demon god, and the rest watched nervously. They could also see that Dongbu Shuiying's spear arts were clearly stronger, and his might was also stronger. Due to the increase in his cultivation level, the sacred sorcerer camellia's ability to deflect less and less power. More of the power had to be borne by it. From night to day, Dongbu Shuiying finally stopped. Ha ha ha. Upon seeing this, the great demon god laughed out loud. His entire body was covered in blood-red flames. I knew that the sacred sorcerer camellia wouldn't be so easy to deal with. He has only just reached the deity heart stage and he is only at the grade 2 deity heart stage. Even with the secret skill, it's still far from enough to deal with the sacred sorcerer camellia. The golden-robed sorcerer god nodded and smiled. He has broken through to the deity heart realm, and his secret art has been perfected one after another. This is a secret art that excels in strength, yet he still couldn't break through the sacred sorcerer camellia. I'm afraid that even if Dongbu Shuiying's strength increases a little, he still won't be able to break through. Will definitely win. The great demon god had been rather nervous before, but now he was much more relaxed. For that star pagoda to be able to last until now, it's truly amazing. The golden-robed sorcerer god turned his head and looked at the star pagoda that was still emitting boundless light. According to what I know, the consumption of level 12 star pagoda is extremely huge. If there's no one controlling it, it should require 200,000 god crystals a year. Even if there's Xia people controlling it, their realms are lower and they can't save much. How many god crystals did this Dongbu Shuiying leave behind to actually be able to last until now? It's already been 5 years. I don't think it'll last much longer. The great demon god also laughed heartily. If Dongbu Shuiying can't break through the sacred sorcerer camellia even after reaching grade 2 deity heart, I think it's impossible for him to break through. At least not before the star pagoda is destroyed. Once the star pagoda's world membrane disperses, without the suppression, we will be able to build a large-scale fortress. The star pagoda shone brightly, and the world energy was everywhere. The power of the world energy could even instantly crush a peak demigod to death. Some of the construction materials of the fortress would probably be swept away by the world energy the moment they were placed, or even absorbed into the star pagoda. It was impossible to build. It's actually not enough. Dongbu Shuiying was somewhat disappointed. Even though he had reached grade 2 deity heart, He was not in a hurry to become a deity. That was because becoming a deity would not help him at all. God Force? He had the great chaotic true force. This was much stronger than God Force. God Physique? His time immemorial body far surpassed ordinary God Physiques. God Domain? The assistance from the Star Pagoda's world energy was much stronger than the God Domain. The second level of the great chaotic true force is too difficult. I can't even cultivate it. Dongbo Shuiying shook his head inwardly. Under normal circumstances, one could only reach the entry level of the great chaotic true force after reaching the star deity heart realm. Back then, Dongbo Shuiying had reached the peak of the stage 3 deity heart realm and created his own secret skill. Even though he had reached the deity heart realm, it was still too difficult to cultivate the second level. This world deity grade secret technique had a total of 6 levels. At the deity stage, one could usually only cultivate the first and second level. The third level required one to reach the world deity realm, and his current realm was still too low. Since that's the case, I'll continue cultivating and try to reach the deity heart realm with the true meaning of extreme piercing and the true meaning of mirage. Dongbo Shuiying was not discouraged. He was very clear that his 3 true meanings reflected each other. When he first started cultivating, he had fused the 4 profound mysteries of earth, fire, water, and wind to form these 3 true meanings. Thus, during the process of cultivating, he had constantly absorbed the profound mysteries of earth, fire, water, and wind to improve. Dongbo Shuiying had always been cross-referencing his 3 true meanings. Thus, when he was trapped in the sacred sorcerer Camellia, he felt that the chaotic suppression was the most effective move. Thus, he had spent more time and effort on the true meaning of star. However, according to Dongbo Shuiying's cultivation experience, and after grasping the star deity heart, he had gained many insights into the true meaning of extreme piercing and the true meaning of mirage. He believed that he would be able to break through soon. It's already a miracle that Jianghu could last until now. I have to hurry. Dongbo Shuiying did not dare to delay. Inside the star pagoda, Jianghu, who was dressed in a light blue robe, had a peaceful expression on her face. She was completely immersed in the spirit design. The burden of controlling the star pagoda with all her might was huge on her soul. After 5 years, her soul had already been damaged by more than half. Traces of soul force were constantly dissipating. However, the more soul force dissipated, the more ethereal Jianghu felt. Her efficiency in comprehending the spirit design also became higher. One had to know that at the start, even if Jianghu used all her strength to control the star pagoda for a year, she would still need to expend 120,000 deity crystals. In reality, it was impossible for her to not stop at all. She had to rest for a while. However, 600,000 deity crystals had already been used for 5 years. There was still quite a lot left. This was all due to Jianghu's efforts. She was completely immersed in the world of the spirit design. She was constantly comprehending and pursuing a higher efficiency. As long as Dongbo Shuiying did not come out, she would continue to persist. Unless her soul could not take it anymore and fainted, she would not stop. Within that black witch camellia sacred flower in the desert, Dongbo Shuiying did not care about the influence of the witch god's music. He continued to cultivate his spear arts and comprehend the other 2 true meanings. He felt that he was very close to comprehending the true meaning of extreme piercing and the true meaning of mirage. His true meaning of star had reached the deity heart stage. This allowed him to have many inspirations towards the other 2 true meanings. He had always been pondering over them. The sun rose and set. He was trapped within this black flower. In the blink of an eye, another 5 months had passed. Boom! The profound mysteries of heaven and earth surged. A dark void vaguely appeared around Dongbo Shuiying's body. Within the dark void there was a huge sphere. The sphere was round and had no flaws. It was currently revolving and moving forward. It felt as though it could crush and penetrate through everything. Regardless of time, space, or any other profound mysteries, nothing could obstruct its advance. This caused the witch god and the great demon god, who were within the red leaf, to be shocked. He grasped another grade 2 true meaning? Extreme piercing deity heart? First update. Chapter 392. How did he grasp a grade 2 deity heart so quickly? Isn't this too fast? The sorcerer god's expression changed. It is too fast. He grasped 3 true meanings. It would be fine if he broke through one, but how did he break through consecutively? The great demon god frowned. Normally, when a transcendent cultivated 2 or 3 true meanings, breaking through to the deity heart stage in 1 true meaning would be a difficult task for the other. For example, Persei and the Maishan master. The Maishan master cultivated his body and comprehended the true meaning of only me. He comprehended the true meaning of space by sensing the world. The true meaning of space and the true meaning of only me represented two different directions. Although they would occasionally interact, after the Maishan master comprehended the deity heart of space, he was unable to comprehend the only me deity heart. Persei comprehended the only me deity heart, but his true meaning of 8 dragons was unable to break through to the deity heart stage. Under normal circumstances, when transcendents cultivated multiple true meanings, it was rare for them to break through consecutively. However, Dongbu Shuang was different from them. Dongbu Shui Ying's cultivation time was much shorter than theirs. Furthermore, before he grasped any of the true meanings, he had comprehended the profound mysteries of earth, fire, water, and wind. These 4 profound mysteries had different tendencies, allowing Dongbu Shuang to respectively comprehend extreme piercing, mirage, and star. Because they came from the same source, and because they were mutually verified during cultivation, Dongbu Shui Ying's 3 true meanings would not differ by too much every time he broke through. According to the intelligence provided by the temporal temple, Dongbu Shui Ying has grasped a secret skill called Star Meteor Annihilation. The sorcerer god frowned. This secret skill is a combination of the true meaning of star and the true meaning of extreme piercing. Now that he has comprehended the deity heart of star and the deity heart of extreme piercing, the power of this secret skill will probably increase greatly. It shouldn't be broken. The great demon god was also slightly worried. A secret skill that combined true meanings was extremely powerful. Inside that black flower, Dongbu Shuang was currently immersed in his comprehension. All the insights he had accumulated over the years regarding extreme piercing had been condensed into a complete entity, allowing Dongbu Shui Ying's understanding of extreme piercing to reach true perfection. At this time, Dongbu Shui Ying could feel the vastness of the legendary Grade 1 deity heart, the extremity deity heart. Amidst the vast laws of heaven and earth, there was a gigantic sphere that existed in nothingness. It seemed to be real, but at the same time, it didn't seem to exist. It seemed to be the end of all the rules of heaven and earth, but also the beginning. Dongbu Shuang felt like he was just a small part of this huge sphere. If I can grasp the extremity deity heart, my realm will reach an unimaginable level. Dongbu Shuang was shocked. As long as he grasped hold of a Grade 1 deity heart, he would be able to cultivate to the world deity realm in one go. There was a huge gap between a deity and a world deity. In reality, countless deities could not become a world deity no matter how long they cultivated. Those who could cultivate for tens of millions of years to become a world deity were already extremely talented. For example, the sorcerer god spent a long time to become a world deity. Dongbu Shuang immediately retracted his thoughts. Opening his eyes, he wielded the blood drinker spear and looked at the towering black flower petal in front of him. Hong! Shuang displayed his star meteor annihilation. His spear pierced out with boundless power. Fused with the profound mysteries of the 2 deity hearts, this spear was extremely fast. With a loud rumble, it pierced through the flexible and huge black petal. The petal trembled, but it did not break apart. Again, Dongbu Shuang thrust his spear after spear. While executing, his star meteor annihilation was constantly perfecting. After all, he had just grasped the extreme piercing deity heart, and perfecting his secret skill required time. In the blink of an eye, a day passed. Only then did the sorcerer god and the great demon god heave a sigh of relief. In terms of defending against penetrative attacks, the sacred sorcerer Camellia was clearly more proficient. In terms of strength, the star meteor annihilation was slightly weaker than the chaotic suppression. Naturally, it was harder to break through. Who? The gold-robed sorcerer god heaved a sigh of relief as he looked at the towering star pagoda in the distance. The star pagoda was still blooming with light, enveloping an area of 50,000 kilometers. Why is this star pagoda still maintaining its power? How many god crystals did Dongbu Shuang leave behind in the star pagoda? Even if he became an inner disciple, he shouldn't have so many god crystals. Let's wait a little longer. It should be soon. The great demon god was similarly anxious. Moreover, the defense of the sacred sorcerer Camellia is perfect. Dongbu Shuang won't be able to break it. Dongbu Shuang seemed to be very calm as he continued cultivating. He was very clear that no matter how anxious he was, it was useless. The only thing he could do now was to focus on cultivating and increase his strength as quickly as possible. 3 months after he grasped the extreme piercing deity heart, it was daytime. The sun was setting in the west. Sunlight shone through the world membrane, illuminating the entire desert. Even the sand in the desert reflected the sunlight. It seemed to be a very peaceful afternoon. However, this afternoon was destined to be extraordinary. It would be the most important turning point in the history of the Xia people. Bang! Within the huge black flower, the surroundings of the white-robed youth, who was meditating, became hazy and illusory. Mirage deity heart? Everything happened naturally. After grasping the star deity heart and the extreme piercing deity heart, he finally grasped the mirage deity heart. When he grasped it, the commotion caused was relatively small, much smaller than the other two deity hearts. Mirage? Ying felt as if he had transformed into a vast illusory world, easily reflecting everything. Regardless of whether it was the desert or the faraway cities, the countless mortals or the desolate mountain villages, the mortals were still living peacefully. They did not seem to realize that a calamity had already descended, and that the peak existences of the Xia people were currently fighting against it. The world of the Xia people was millions of kilometers wide. Ying had long ago been able to reflect an area of 100,000 kilometers around him when he was at stage 3 of the true meaning of mirage. Now that he had attained the mirage deity heart, he could reflect the entire world of the Xia people. The mirage that he had grasped was a complete reflection of the entire world of the Xia people. Ying could even feel the boundless energy of heaven and earth surging. This was the energy of the mortal world. Feeling this surging energy, Ying could even faintly feel something strange. It was formless, yet it existed. It was the core of the entire world of the Xia people. It was also a small part of the operation of the enormous material world. It allowed the birth of countless lives in the world of the Xia people. It forced the deities to leave after their 10,000 years of lifespan. It suppressed the outsiders and it supported the children of the natives. It was the realm core of the world of the Xia people. I can feel the realm core? Ying was a little shocked. Being able to sense the realm core meant that he only needed to take another step before he could refine it. Clearly, the mirage deity heart was more suitable for refining the realm core. This was because the mirage deity heart itself controlled the world. Naturally, it was just a mirage. Although I am only a step away, I will still need to cultivate for many more years before I can refine the realm core. Ying immediately stopped thinking about it. I have to make the best use of my time and raise my strength as soon as possible. Ying was still sitting cross-legged. At the same time, a black statue appeared in his mind. This was the time immemorial scripture. A large amount of information was received by Ying, and he began to visualize a three-dimensional and complicated god seal. It was a three-dimensional god seal with one hand pointing to the sky and the other pointing to the ground. The god seal was extremely profound and complicated. However, after grasping the complete mirage deity heart, his comprehension was incomparably fast. One must know that the time immemorial scripture had a total of 9 levels. The first 3 levels were usually for deities to cultivate. From the 4th level onwards, one would need to be a world deity to cultivate. The true meaning of mirage was extremely suitable for this secret technique. At the stage 3 realm, one would be able to cultivate the 1st level. Upon reaching the deity heart realm, one would be able to cultivate it to the 2nd level. If one could advance one step further, one would be able to cultivate it to the 3rd level. Advance further? That would already be the world deity realm. Ying merely spent an hour to fully comprehend this three-dimensional god seal. So this step is to let every single particle in my body open up a miniature mirage? Ying exclaimed inwardly. He then stopped thinking about it and immediately began cultivating. Hong hong hong. One by one, the three-dimensional god seals began to fuse with every single particle. It began to transform the particles within them. Gradually, a miniature mirage began to appear within the structure of the particles. This transformation was a qualitative transformation. The internal structure of the particles was slowly evolving into a world. This also caused Ying's body to undergo an earth-shattering transformation. The particles underwent a qualitative transformation. The blood, skin, muscles, bones, internal organs, and many others formed by the particles began to undergo a shocking transformation. Hong. Within the sacred sorcerer Camellia, the white-robed youth sat cross-legged. His aura surged violently, and at the same time he frantically absorbed the energy of the world. On Crimson Rock Mountain's Crimson Dust Island, the energy of the world there was endless, as if it was constantly absorbing origin stones. On the other hand, in the mortal world of the Xia people, the energy of the world was not as dense. Thus, the time immemorial body's advancement caused a greater commotion, even forming an incomparably large vortex of energy of the world. This vast and mighty vortex spanned over 1,000,000 kilometers, covering a good portion of the entire mainland of the Xia people's world. This caused countless Xia people in the cities to raise their heads in confusion as they looked at the enormous vortex. Many even thought that this was a scene of the end of the world. Such a terrifying surge of energy of the world? Whether it was the sorcerer god, the great demon god, or Jingqiu mountain lord He, palace lord Qin, Chao Qing, and the others in the star pagoda, all of them stared in shock at this scene. The second chapter had arrived. Continue writing the third chapter. Chapter 393. What's going on? Becoming a deity doesn't cause such a huge commotion. Palace head Qin stood within the star pagoda, gazing at the distant sacred sorcerer Camellia, where Shuang stood. He then looked up at the boundless world energy maelstrom high up in the sky. The maelstrom covered the entire sky, causing the entire world to darken. Si Kongyang was shocked. This world energy whirlpool, we can't even see its edge with our naked eyes. It's at least hundreds of thousands of li wide, maybe even bigger. They were all experienced and knowledgeable, and many scenes were recorded in the history of the Xia people. But they had never seen such a huge world energy whirlpool before. Snow Eagle must have improved in some way. Mountain Lord He looked excitedly at the distant black flower. Maybe he can break it open. He definitely can. Chao Qing, City Lady Bu, and the rest nodded in anticipation. If the Xia people were nervous and expectant, then the sorcerer god and the great demon god were starting to panic. He must be cultivating some world deity grade secret technique. The gold-robed sorcerer god was incomparably anxious. With such a huge commotion, his cultivation must be quite powerful. This is going to be troublesome. I hope the sacred sorcerer Camellia can block it. A world deity ranked secret technique was an absolute trump card among deity experts. At the same realm, if one cultivated a world deity grade secret technique, their strength would explode to an extremely high degree, easily displaying the strength of a peak deity. There were even some with high realms who were suitable for certain world deity grade secret techniques, displaying the strength of a threshold world deity. He definitely can. The great demon god was also watching nervously. Against Dongbo Shuang they had no other way. If not for the star pagoda's obstruction, they would have long started to build wantonly around the sacred sorcerer Camellia, heavily surrounding Dongbo Shuang. But under the illumination of the star pagoda, they had no way of building, so they could only place their hopes on the sacred sorcerer Camellia. Within the 3,000 li wide black flower, Dongbo Shuang sat cross-legged. The vast whirlpool of heaven and earth energy in the sky had already dissipated, revealing the setting sun. The sun was bright red and felt very comfortable when it shone on his body. Although his eyes were closed, Dongbo Shuang's ears could still hear the countless waves. Even when the sunlight shone on his body, he could distinguish the countless waves in the light. Be it the vast sun or the countless grains of sand, every grain of sand in the desert contained its own waves. His perception of this world had become even sharper than before. Wah! Dongbo Shuang stood up. He saw the restless sorcerer god and great demon god in the red leaf space. He also saw a group of anxious Xia people in the star pagoda. Now that my time immemorial body has reached the second stage, the changes are very obvious. Dongbo Shuang could feel the surging energy in his body. He stretched his hand out, and the black blood drinker spear appeared in his hand as he muttered, "It's been 5 years, almost 6 years. I don't believe that this black flower can stop me. Break for me." Dongbo Shuang suddenly waved the blood drinker spear in his hand. Boom boom boom. In an instant, the realm energy of the entire Xia people's world was activated. After mastering the Mirage deity heart, the mirage he could control overlapped with the entire Xia people's world. This allowed Dongbo Shuang to use some realm energy, although it was far from the effect of refining the realm core. Even so, just a little bit of it was already very powerful. At the same time, Dongbo Shuang's body became stronger, and the great chaotic true force also activated the blood drinker spear. The spear technique he executed at this moment was the chaotic hole suppression that was famous for its strength. After mastering the star deity heart, the chaotic suppression had been perfected to an extremely high level. The spear was now 1,000 li long. As it streaked across the sky, the spear's shaft was bent, and the spearhead fiercely whipped one of the towering black flower petals. "You must hold on. The sorcerer god and the great demon god watched nervously. "You must break it open. Palace Lord Qin, Mountain Lord He, Jingqiu, Chao Qing, and Si Kongyang were all incomparably anxious. Pa pa pa. The black sacred sorcerer camellia emitted a series of crisp sounds. The black flower petal that was struck was slightly distorted, and cracks began to appear in the connection between it and the other petals. Not good. The sorcerer god and the great demon god's expressions changed. Break for me, break it open. Dongbo Shui Ying's expression was malevolent, and he did not stop, continuing to furiously hack at the flower. It was as if the heavens and earth were collapsing. A series of explosions rang out, and the 1,000-li-long blood drinker spear seemed to transform into a mirage. In an instant, it hacked out 8 times, until the flexible black flower suddenly exploded. Countless parts of the petals were directly shattered, and in an instant, more than 100 black flower petals broke and flew in all directions. It's out. The Xia people inside the Star Pagoda were all incomparably excited. Even Jingqiu stopped and looked at the scene outside the Star Pagoda with excitement. A large number of petals from the huge black flower were blown away, but there were still a lot left and countless parts were scattered everywhere. Dongbo Shuiying instantly rushed out. Break, break, break. Dongbo Shuiying whipped the red leaf of the sacred sorcerer camellia, but the red leaf was clearly not as stable as the black flower. With a single strike, it began to shatter. Within the red leaf, although the sorcerer god and the great demon god were incomparably furious, they still instinctively used the laws of profound mysteries to dodge this terrifying attack. Boundless power instantly swept over. The blurred figure of the sorcerer god, as well as the great demon god, who seemed to have sunk into endless darkness, had a huge change in their expressions. This was because a wave of power had swept over them. This is the world energy of the Xia people's world? The sorcerer god and the great demonic god did not even have the time to be shocked. This was the only thought that appeared in their minds before their bodies completely disintegrated. With just the power of a peak demigod, Shui Ying's attack had only grazed them slightly, and they would have been finished. Dongbo Shuiying could now control the mirage and could reflect the entire Xia people's world. Sensing the world core, he could also use a small amount of world energy. This was not the world energy forcefully controlled by the Star Pagoda. Instead, it was the true core power of the mortal world. This was also the invincible power of a lord of a material world. Although it was only a small amount, it was pervasive and omnipresent. The great demon god and the sorcerer god had no way of dodging this attack. Dead. Dongbo Shuiying himself was slightly stunned, but he quickly came to a realization. The world energy of the Xia people's world is indeed powerful. If one could completely refine it, he would be the true ruler of this mortal world. South. After destroying the doppelgangers of the great demon god and the sorcerer god, Dongbo Shuiying did not stop. He turned and charged towards the distant fortress. Break for me. He flew towards the 6-pointed star-shaped black fortress that covered an area of 10,000 miles. Of course, one of the corners of the fortress had already been destroyed. Dongbo Shuiying directly waved his blood drinker spear. The spear arced across the sky, and the long spear even had a faint shadow of a chaos hole. When it struck the fortress, the entire fortress exploded and was sent flying. All the spatial pillar arrays within the fortress had been destroyed. The entire fortress had instantly exploded into 6 parts. These were the main fortress and the 5 side fortresses. There were also many fragments flying everywhere. The power of a single attack had sent everything flying. Bang bang bang. Under Dongbo Shuiying's attack, the originally stable spatial passageway began to collapse. The passageway trembled and many cracks began to appear. Boom boom boom. Countless spatial cracks spread in all directions, and the entire spatial passageway was collapsing. After the collapse, many of the spatial cracks naturally recovered. Some of the subordinates of the sorcerer god and the great demon god did not manage to escape in time. Under the furious attack of Dongbo Shuiying, even if it was just a small wave, they were all annihilated. Within the Star Pagoda, Jingqiu stopped. Chao Qing, Palace Lord Qin, Mountain Lord He, City Lady Bu, Si Kong Yang, and the rest were all watching the scene unfold. They watched as Dongbo Shuiying killed his way out of the black flower and destroyed the red leaf. The sorcerer god and the great demon god's doppelgangers were also killed without being able to escape. The distant majestic fortress was destroyed with a single attack, and the stable spatial passageway also collapsed. This apocalyptic scene caused all the Xia people to be incomparably excited. Because this day would forever be recorded in the history of the Xia people. In fact, it might even be the most important day in the history of the Xia people. We won, the Xia people won. Chao Qing opened his mouth and said. His voice was somewhat hoarse, but his eyes were filled with tears. We won. Many of the people present could not control their emotions. They all understood that the Xia people's history was about to open a new chapter. And the one who pushed all of this was the most dazzling transcendent in the history of the Xia people. Snow Eagle. Palace Lord Qin revealed a smile. Haha, he's from my Water Daoist faction. Zikongyang laughed. I was his master before, so I also contributed. Gongyu laughed. Everyone present was carefree and happy. Countless people were worried about this war. Even the ancestors of the Xia people in the deity world were worried about this war that would decide the fate of the Xia people. And now they had won. Chapter 394. This was one of the trillions of worlds in the material realm. What lived here were not humans but beasts. Countless beasts lived here, and there was a holy land where countless beasts believed in a mighty existence, an eternal existence, an unparalleled existence, the Sorcerer God. Sigh. The Sorcerer God stood on the mountain peak, his gaze distant. The rumors of him being an eternal existence and unparalleled existence among the beasts were indeed exaggerated. But as a lord of a material realm, as long as he did not provoke any powerful existences, he indeed had an unlimited lifespan. Even a stage 4 world deity could forget about killing him. Many overlords of material worlds died because they had lived for too long. They began to doubt themselves and went mad. Some fell to the point where their true deity hearts collapsed and they died. Some sealed their memories and disregarded everything else to reincarnate and start a new life. Of course, the Sorcerer God was still considered young among world deities. He still had a limitless future. I actually lost, and so miserably. The Sorcerer God sighed. My many years of hard work have been lost in a single day. Losing to a peerless transcendent is not an injustice, not at all. Even though he had lost his composure due to his anxiety and anger, the Sorcerer God quickly adapted to his defeat. Even though his losses were huge, as a lord of a material realm, he had plenty of opportunities to rise again. This Dongbo Shuiying is truly astonishing, the Sorcerer God muttered to himself. From his birth until the start of the war, excluding the time acceleration in Crimson Rock Mountain, only 200 years have passed. In 200 years, he has grasped 3 Grade 2 deity hearts and an entire set of secret skills. Such a peerless transcendent is truly rare. Being able to create a secret skill was already very rare, but Dongbo Shuiying had 3 deity hearts and an entire set of secret skills. Furthermore, he had only cultivated for a short period of time. Who would have thought? I was on guard against that stage 3 world deity from the Temple of the Earth God. But in the end, in this tiny mortal world, I met a peerless transcendent who is rarely seen even in the deity world. The Sorcerer God sighed. He has only cultivated for a short period of time. If he was given more time, he might have comprehended a Grade 1 true meaning? Too powerful. Elder Yu Ping had been accepted as a personal disciple by the Qilan monarch, but he had only grasped 2 Grade 2 deity hearts and created a single secret skill. Furthermore, he had cultivated for more than 2,000 years. Elder Yu Ping was already very dazzling, much more impressive than the Meishan master in Persei. But compared to Dongbo Shuiying? No matter which aspect it was, Dongbo Shuiying completely defeated him. This was simply a qualitative difference. In the eyes of the Sorcerer God, such a peerless transcendent, as long as he was nurtured and met with more opportunities, he would definitely be able to grasp hold of a Grade 1 true meaning. Killing me and the great demon god's avatar at the end actually activated some of the world's energy? The Sorcerer God nodded. That's right. He has the Mirage deity heart, and it can indeed reflect the entire world of the Xia people. Moreover, the Mirage deity heart and the real world are 2 sides of the same coin. With this foundation, as long as he improves slightly, he will have a chance to refine the heart of the realm. With Dongbo Shuiying's talent, he might be able to do it within 100 years. The Sorcerer God shook his head. A material world lord was about to be born. Furthermore, it was stepping on him and the great demon god. This Dongbo Shuiying is too formidable. The Sorcerer God recalled the entire incident and could not help but shake his head. Perhaps the 100 years of torture caused by the hexing poison actually tempered his will. The nurturing at Crimson Rock Mountain is what allowed this peerless transcendent to truly soar into the sky. It's not an injustice to lose, not an injustice at all. After all, who would have thought that we would meet such a peerless transcendent? With such a probability, we would meet both the great demon god and I. The Sorcerer God shook his head. If the Sorcerer God could be said to be calm, then far away in the dark abyss, the great demon god, De Er Hao, was incomparably furious. Damn it, ah, damn it. Accompanied by a furious roar, a formless black ripple spread out from within a shrine. Some of the guards were instantly turned into dust, and the other subordinates further away were scared witless. Within the shrine, the great demonic god paced back and forth, a pair of huge curved horns protruding from his face, his expression sinister. I actually lost? After preparing for so long, I actually lost? Wasn't that fool, the sorcerer god, so confident? And that Dongbua Shuang, how did such a peerless transcendent appear out of nowhere? Such a transcendent is rare even in the dark abyss. Out of all the demons born in my territory, there has never been a demon as powerful as him. Such a transcendent actually appeared in a mortal world? And I just happened to meet him? Ah, damn it. The great demon god howled angrily. He hated it. He hated meeting a peerless transcendent like Dongbua Shuang. Such a transcendent, if placed in the deity world, could be accepted as a personal disciple by a powerful existence if they were not too picky. If he were to focus on teaching him, it was even possible for him to comprehend a grade 1 true meaning. He actually met such a heaven-defying transcendent? The deity crystals I've accumulated over the years have almost all been used up. Ah, damn it. The great demon god cursed. He had paid a huge price this time as well. He was different from the sorcerer god. The sorcerer god could leave his true body in the material world while his avatar adventured in the deity world. But the dark abyss was much more dangerous. He, the great demon god, could not hide in the material world. Was it easy to accumulate so many deity crystals? They were all gone in an instant. That traitor Chichiobai. Traitor. The great demon god howled. If he were to take action and destroy the star pagoda, even if he couldn't destroy it, he could at least make the star pagoda last for a shorter period of time. The star pagoda's membrane would collapse earlier, and the sorcerer god and I would be able to start a large-scale construction and surround Dongbua Shuang. That way we would have won. Traitor. Chichiobai, didn't you want to be a hero? The great demon god's eyes were filled with rage. Ever since he was born, he had struggled to survive among countless demons. The great demon god would definitely take revenge for the smallest grievance. Naturally, he wanted to torture Chichiobai ruthlessly. He wanted Chichiobai to beg for death. The war had ended. Dongbua Shuang was too lazy to care about what the sorcerer god and the great demon god thought of him. At this moment he was most worried about his wife. So, a streak of light flew over and directly entered the star pagoda. At this moment, the light at the top of the star pagoda started to dissipate. The war had already been won. Naturally, there was no need to maintain it any longer. Snow Eagle. Palace Lord Qin, Si Kong Yang, Mountain Lord He and the other transcendents of the Xia people, as well as Chao Qin who had become a deity, were all incomparably agitated. Clearly their emotions had not calmed down yet. Dongbua Shuang smiled. That spatial passage has been destroyed. The doppelgangers of the great demon god and the sorcerer god have also been destroyed. They have lost and we have won. This time it's all thanks to you, Snow Eagle. Palace Lord Qin sighed. I'm afraid that before this war the great demon god and the sorcerer god did not treat us, the Xia people, as opponents. Actually, they weren't wrong. We, the Xia people, were indeed unable to stop them. Fortunately, we, the Xia people, have given birth to the strongest transcendent in history. Snow Eagle, you're truly amazing. I've seen countless records regarding the deity world. I feel that you're the most dazzling transcendent in the deity world. Ah, everyone, if you want to praise me, then let's take it slowly during the celebratory feast. Dongbua Shuang laughed. Everyone pack up. I'm going to accompany Jingqiu as well. Go on. Hurry up and accompany Jingqiu. Her contribution this time is also very big. If not for her, the star pagoda would not have lasted until now. Mountain Lord, he added. Mountain Lord, he had been putting in more and more effort in controlling the star pagoda. Even his soul had suffered some damage, but it wasn't too big. This was because once the damage was big, the pain would be intense and the efficiency of controlling the star pagoda would decrease. In a separate hall within the star pagoda, Dongbua Shuang and Jingqiu looked at each other and smiled. Jingqiu, it's been hard on you. Dongbua Shuang held his wife's hand. It wasn't hard at all. Jingqiu smiled brilliantly. Actually, it was all because of you. It was because of you that we were able to defeat the sorcerer god, the great demon god. The other transcendents were unable to interfere at all. The most I could do was to control the star pagoda and help out a little. How's the condition of your soul? Dongbua Shuang asked. It's fine. The war is over. I can rest well. It's fine. Jingqiu's face was filled with happiness. Chapter 395. Dongbu Shuang looked at his wife. The war is over. Everything is over. We can finally relax. You rest well. I will accompany you. My mastery of the Mirage deity heart will help me refine the heart of the realm. I believe that I will be able to refine the Xia people's world soon and become the ruler of this mortal world. By then, no one will be able to threaten the Xia people. Ihi, I can accompany you in peace. We will have plenty of time. Let's have a child. I know you've always wanted a child. Child? Jing Qiu's eyes were filled with anticipation. Snow Eagle. Jing Qiu's eyes were slightly hazy. She looked at Dongbu Shuang. I was quite afraid of this war. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to hold on and save you. You held on and saved me. You are a great hero of the Xia people. You are my savior. Dongbu Shuang laughed. Even if I couldn't hold on, you would become a deity after a few years. Even if there was no hope of winning the war, you would be able to follow the repulsion force of the material world to the deity realm. Jing Qiu said. I'm not your savior. However, if you were to go to the deity realm, we would never be able to meet again. Thinking about the possibility of us being separated forever, I held on. All right, we won. Dongbu Shuang felt sorry for his wife. It's strange. Jing Qiu shook her head. My soul was injured. Although the pain was intense, my mental state became more and more clear. My efficiency in studying arrays increased, allowing me to save more and more deity crystals. Could it be that my desire was so strong that I overcame the effects of the pain? Perhaps. Dongbu Shuang said. Rest well. Your soul needs rest. Amen. Previously, I was immersed in controlling arrays. Now that I've stopped, I actually feel very tired. Jing Qiu looked at Dongbu Shuang. I'll sleep for a while. When I wake up, I'll accompany you to the celebration. All right. Dongbu Shuang nodded. Jing Qiu smiled. Very quickly, endless fatigue overwhelmed her. Her eyelids drooped, and her consciousness fell into endless darkness. She fell asleep as soon as I said she would. As Dongbu Shuang carried his wife, a bed suddenly appeared beside him. Dongbu Shuang carefully placed his wife on the bed. Sleep well. Dongbu Shuang was clear that sleep was the best way to recover. Jing Qiu's soul injury this time around was quite severe. Fortunately, as a demigod, she was able to withstand it. However, she would probably have to sleep more often in the future. I'll go settle those trivial matters first. Dongbu Shuang turned around and was about to leave when his expression suddenly changed. His eyes could see countless changes in light and temperature, and his ears were even sharper. At this moment he could clearly feel that Jing Qiu's breathing was rapidly weakening. This was very abnormal. What happened? Dongbu Shuang immediately went to the bedside. At the same time he sent a strand of his soul force into his wife's body, entering her sea of consciousness. At this moment Jing Qiu's sea of consciousness did not resist at all. Over there, a hazy soul image could be seen. It was Jing Qiu's appearance. However, her eyes were closed and her soul body was becoming illusory. Much of her soul force was dissipating at an extremely fast speed. How could this be? Dongbu Shuang was instantly stunned. Usually, after a period of rest, the soul would continuously recover. Yet, not only did his wife's soul not recover, it was even dissipating? Furthermore, his wife's soul was truly too weak. It was so weak that it seemed as though it could dissipate at any moment. How strong was the soul of a demigod? It shouldn't be so illusory. Not good. Shuang immediately hugged his wife and flew out of the Star Pagoda without caring about anything else. Palace Lord Chen Jing Qiu is heavily injured. I will bring her to Crimson Rock Mountain. You will handle the rest. Dongbu Shuang transmitted. Boom, boom, boom. After Dongbu Shuang grasped the extreme piercing deity heart, his teleportation distance had clearly increased. Currently, he could traverse 50,000 kilometers with a single teleportation. After a few teleportations, Dongbu Shuang had already arrived at Crimson Rock Mountain, which was 50,000 kilometers underground. Crimson Rock Mountain looked very small, but upon closer inspection, it seemed to be boundlessly huge. Around it, there was a void of darkness that seemed to be only 1 meter wide. Dongbu Shuang carried his wife and rapidly entered this void of darkness. Their bodies also rapidly shrank. Senior Crimson Rock, bring me in. Dongbu Shuang hurriedly shouted. This void of darkness was already within the range of the Crimson Rock Mountain's laws of profound mysteries. Dongbu Shuang carried his wife and instantly disappeared, teleporting into the depths of Crimson Rock Mountain. Within the Star Pagoda, the originally incomparably joyous Palace Lord Qin, Mountain Lord He, and the others had already begun to arrange for people to deal with this battlefield. Although the fortresses left behind by the sorcerer god and the great demon god, as well as the remains of the sacred sorcerer Camellia had been destroyed, some of them could still be considered treasures. Within the Xia capital, the transcendents of the Xia people who knew of their victory were all cheering. Many transcendents were already rushing over. Suddenly Palace Lord Qin received a transmission. Palace Lord Qin, Jingqiu is heavily injured. I will bring her to Crimson Rock Mountain. You will handle the rest. This caused Palace Lord Qin to turn pale with fright. Mage Jingqiu is heavily injured? Palace Lord Qin cried out in alarm. What happened? Mountain Lord He, Si Kongyang and Chao Qing looked at him from the side. Mage Jingqiu's soul must have been seriously injured while controlling the array. Snow Eagle has already brought her to Crimson Rock Mountain. Palace Lord Qin anxiously said, Snow Eagle has saved the Xia people. Mage Jingqiu's injuries must be treated as soon as possible. I'll immediately find the Purple Thunder Emperor. The Purple Thunder Emperor specializes in healing, and since he's in the Bloodshed God Palace, he should have a way. Yes. We must think of a way to save Mage Jingqiu. Si Kongyang nodded. Now that the Xia people had achieved a great victory, it was a joyous occasion. Dongbo Shuiying could be said to have saved the entire Xia people, so they naturally had to do their best in this matter. Actually, the news of their victory should have been reported to the ancestors of the Xia people. It was a good opportunity to ask the Purple Thunder Emperor for help. Crimson Rock Mountain, Crimson Dust Island. Dongbo Shuiying appeared on the island with his wife in his arms. Next to him were Senior Crimson Rock and Senior Shiwei. With a so-so sound, two figures tore through the air. They were none other than second senior brother Gu Bai and seventh senior brother He Fei Yun. Senior Crimson Rock, Senior Shiwei, Senior brothers, my wife's soul injuries are extremely serious. Before Dongbo Shuiying could finish speaking, the treasure spirit Senior Crimson Rock frowned. Immediately, the flow of time within Jingqiu's body began to slow down to an exaggerated degree. Put her down first, Crimson Rock said. At the same time, he waved his hand, causing a deck chair to appear by his side. Dongbo Shuiying immediately placed his wife on the deck chair. Crimson Rock, Senior Shiwei, the thick-robed Gu Bai, and the scarlet-cloaked He Fei Yun were all watching from the side. All of them frowned. How could this be? The green-haired Shiwei frowned. Dongbo brat, why is your wife's soul injury so serious? The last time I saw her, her soul was still normal. She was considered powerful even amongst demigod mages. Why is she so weak that she's not even a tenth of her original strength? Her entire soul is so illusory that it's about to collapse. What? Dongbo Shuiying was shocked. Not even a tenth of her original strength? She forcibly controlled the Star Pagoda for nearly 6 years. I thought that she would fall into a coma if her soul was seriously injured. But how could her injuries? The scarlet-cloaked youth nodded as well. A demigod mage would normally lose control of their soul and fall into a coma once their soul is half damaged. Yet, sister-in-law's injuries were so severe that she fell into a coma. She felt tired and wanted to sleep. That's why she fell asleep, Dongbo Shuiying said hurriedly. This is the soul. The very foundation of life, the thick-robed youth Gu Bai said. When one's injuries are so severe, it's impossible to maintain consciousness. She will naturally fall into a coma. This is also a form of self-protection. Perhaps sister-in-law's willpower is simply too strong. She was able to resist the self-protection of her soul and hold on until the very end. This willpower is truly beyond my expectations. She did it to save me. I was trapped. Dongbo Shuiying gritted his teeth. The power of emotions can sometimes produce miracles. The thick-robed youth Gu Bai shook his head. But now that her soul is so weak, it's unable to recover on its own. It's too weak, causing her soul to continuously dissipate. Dongbo Shuiying knew that this situation was very dangerous, because it involved the dissipation of one's soul. This was not something that transcendence could resolve. Thus, he didn't hesitate to carry his wife to Crimson Rock Mountain and beg his 2 senior apprentice brothers. Senior apprentice brother Gu Bai, senior apprentice brother Fei Yun, senior apprentice brother Shiwei, senior apprentice brother Crimson Rock, please think of a way. Dongbo Shuiying begged. Chapter 396. The thick-robed youth, Gu Bai, solemnly said, Junior apprentice brother, the soul is the foundation of life and is the most mysterious and unfathomable. If it was to reconstruct the physical body it would be very simple, but if it involved the soul it would be troublesome. If it was some simple injuries, there might be a way. However, sister-in-law's soul origin is almost completely depleted, and only a tiny bit of it remains. It's already starting to dissipate. Under such circumstances, there are only two ways to save her. Which two? Dongbo Shuiying asked anxiously. The first is to ask a powerful being to act. Almighty existences had taken the final step and had long since transcended. Even if they were already dead, almighty existences could revive them from the river of time. Thus, if a powerful existence is willing to take action, it will definitely succeed, Senior Gubai said. The second method is to find rare treasures that can recreate a soul. Ordinary soul-nourishing treasures are no longer useful. In sister-in-law's case, just nourishing and nurturing is not enough. You must have a treasure that can recreate the soul. Create a new soul? Dongbo Shuiying asked. Even if there's only a trace of his soul left, he can quickly recover. Gubai explained, usually when world deities fight against each other, some of their methods are extremely sinister and ruthless, causing their opponent's true deity heart to nearly dissipate. At such a time, there is no way to save them, so they can only search for rare treasures that can reconstruct their souls. He restored his true deity heart. However, these rare treasures are extremely precious. Dongbo Shuiying hastily said, I don't even dare to think about hiring a powerful being, but is it even possible to buy a rare treasure that can reconstruct a soul? How much is it worth? Almighty beings, his methods were unimaginable. In the firmament and the dark abyss, there were countless people who wanted to ask a powerful existence to resurrect them, save them, or take them in as a disciple. After all, there were countless cultivators who wanted to ask a powerful existence to help them. After all, there were countless cultivators who had their own regrets in life. Almighty beings could make up for their regrets. However, almighty beings could not easily act. After all, there were many things that went against the normal operation of the world, and the price to pay for doing it was not small. It's extremely rare. You can't even buy one. The scarlet-caped youth said, in the vast deity realm, it's very rare for one to be discovered. Once a powerful cultivator obtains it, they won't take it out again. Even most of the universe gods in the fourth heaven might not have such a treasure. Its value? For those who need it, it is priceless. For those that were not needed, their value would naturally be limited, but because they were so rare, even if they were traded, the price would usually be extremely high. And it's usually impossible to find them. Such a rare treasure is hard to come by even for stage 4 world deities. Dongbo, you can't afford it. None of us can afford it, Senior Gubai sighed. Then what should we do? Dongbo Shuiying anxiously looked at Jingqiu, who seemed to be asleep, and hurriedly asked, right, the flow of time can be controlled inside Crimson Rock Mountain. Is it possible to stop time? That way Jingqiu's injuries won't worsen? Dongbo, time freezing is a combat technique. Senior Crimson Rock said, to be able to stop time for a short period of time, I've never heard of anyone being able to stop time forever. Not even almighty existences can do it. As soon as Wizard Jingqiu arrived, I've already controlled the flow of time in her body to become very, very slow. It has also reached the limit of what Crimson Rock Mountain can maintain for a long period of time, equivalent to 1/millionth of the outside world. 1/millionth of the flow of time? Dongbo Shuiying relaxed slightly. Sister-in-law's situation is hard to say. The scarlet-cloaked youth frowned. Sister-in-law is a demigod mage. Although only a small portion of her soul remains, it's still possible for her to hold on for another year or so. But if things go south and she dissipates like this, it's possible that she'll collapse within a day or two. Of course, I'm talking about the normal flow of time. If you count it as 1,000,000 times, in theory, sister-in-law should be able to hold on for 1,000,000 years. If she's unlucky, she might collapse within 1,000 years. Dongbo Shuiying's heart tightened. He squatted down and leaned against the recliner, looking at his wife who was lying there. Jingqiu, Dongbo Shuiying muttered. The war was over. He was supposed to be happy. He was supposed to celebrate with his wife and countless others. But why did things turn out this way? Senior apprentice brothers. Dongbo Shuiying raised his head. Senior Shiwei, Senior Crimson Rock, for the sake of saving Jingqiu, I'm willing to pay any price. Please help me point out a feasible method. Dongbo Shuiying's voice was low. The thick-gowned youth, the scarlet-cloaked youth, Shiwei and Crimson Rock all sighed in their hearts. Your combat power is still too weak. If you were a grade 1 true meaning transcendent, things would be much simpler. The scarlet-cloaked youth shook his head. If you insist on pointing out a feasible method, then go and ask the temporal temple. The temporal temple? Dongbo Shuiying was startled. Senior Gubai nodded. The temporal temple has been investigating the material world, the deity world, the dark abyss, and many other places. They don't know what fatigue is and are always searching for treasures. Thus, searching for treasures is their specialty. We're talking about rare treasures that can recreate souls, then who has the most? It's definitely the temporal temple. You should go and ask the temporal temple. Your chances should be the highest. All right. Dongbo Shuang nodded. But if you do that, you might be restricted. Senior Gubai, Senior Feiyun, and the others all looked at Dongbo Shuang. Even though he didn't like being restricted, compared to saving his wife, Dongbo Shuang felt that it would be worth it. It's fine. The temporal island is one of the 3 superpowers of the deity world. There are trillions of reincarnators in the temporal temple. Joining them won't be a big deal, Dongbo Shuang said. I have a talisman here. Let sister-in-law keep it. The scarlet-cloaked youth, Senior Feiyun, took out a black talisman. Even after leaving Crimson Rock Mountain, the time flow will remain at 1/1,000,000th of its original speed. However, this talisman's power can only last for 3 years. My guess is that if you go and ask the temporal temple, they will send their consciousness down to check on sister-in-law's situation. You will definitely have to bring her out. Amen. Dongbo Shuang nodded. The temporal temple would not be able to check on Crimson Rock Mountain. I'll go out first. After keeping the talisman, Dongbo Shuang hugged his wife. Bus. Senior Crimson Rock sent Dongbo Shuang back to the Xia people's world. Truthfully speaking, when Dongbo Shuang carried his wife and left, he felt a great deal of pressure. When he went to Crimson Rock Mountain to ask for help, he had great hopes that his senior brothers would be able to save his wife. However, he had clearly underestimated the profoundness of the soul. Temporal Temple. Dongbo Shuang muttered. Snow Eagle, we are on the surface of Crimson Rock Mountain. Ancestor Purple Thunder is here as well. After Dongbo Shuang came out, he immediately received a message from Palace Lord Qin. Chao Qing, Mountain Lord He, and the others also sent messages. Ancestor Purple Thunder? Dongbo Shuang hugged his wife. Shua. With the extreme piercing, he instantly went from 50,000 kilometers underground to the surface. This was a peaceful grassland. The sun had already set and the sky was dark. On this grassland there were a few figures. They were precisely Palace Lord Qin and the others. Among them was a green-robed, amiable-looking old man. He was precisely the Purple Thunder Emperor who had sent his world projection. When the Purple Thunder Emperor knew that the Xia people had won, he was exceptionally excited and happy. After knowing the details of the battle, he sighed in admiration that the Xia people had produced such a peerless transcendent. When he found out about Jing Qiu's injuries, he immediately sent his world projection over. Dongbo Shuang appeared on the grassland while carrying his wife. With a single glance, he saw the Purple Thunder Emperor. Although the Purple Thunder Emperor looked like an ordinary amiable-looking old man, his aura was clearly extraordinary. Hua. A recliner appeared on the grassland. Dongbo Shuang placed his wife down. Dongbo Shuang. The Purple Thunder Emperor walked over. Greetings, Ancestor Purple Thunder. Dongbo Shuang immediately bowed. No need to be so courteous. We Xia people who have become deities treat each other equally. After all, we were born so many years apart. There's no point in differentiating between seniors and juniors. You will definitely become a deity, so there's no need to be so courteous. The Purple Thunder Emperor immediately walked to Jing Qiu's side and carefully examined her. A strand of his energy had already been sent to examine her soul. The flow of time is so slow. The Purple Thunder Emperor exclaimed. He then frowned and shook his head. The damage to her soul has actually reached such a level. I thought she only lost half of her soul. How could it have already started to dissipate? This is impossible. There's no way to save her. I'm afraid that only the powerful existences of the legends can save her. As soon as these words came out, the Palace Lord Qin, Mountain Lord He, Chao Qing, City Lady Bu, Si Kong Yang, and the others were all somewhat anxious. Ancestor Purple Thunder, is there no other way? None of them were willing to believe it. There's no other way. The Purple Thunder Emperor shook his head. Dongbo Shuang didn't find it strange. After all, both of his world deities had seen it before. He immediately said, Ancestor Purple Thunder, I'll have to trouble you with one thing. Just say it. The Purple Thunder Emperor hurriedly said. He originally wanted to do his best to save her. If he had a way, he could even ask his superiors for help. But in such a situation, there was simply no hope. I would like to ask you to help me contact the Temporal Temple. I have no way of contacting them in the mortal world. Dongbu Shuang said, I hope that the temporal temple can save my wife. As long as they can save her, I'm willing to pay any price. This. The Purple Thunder Emperor was startled. He looked at Dongbu Shuang. Dongbu Shuang, your talent is unparalleled. Even in the deity world, you are a true apex transcendent. I'm afraid that only the transcendents of the legends who have grasped a grade 1 true meaning are stronger than you. If you really ask for help, even if the temporal temple agrees, I'm afraid that the conditions will be extremely harsh. I understand. I hope Ancestor Purple Thunder can help me pass the message, Dongbu Shuang said. All right. The Purple Thunder Emperor lightly nodded. Brat, you are truly a sentimental person. Rest assured, I'll immediately pass the message. However, my encampment is very far from the temporal temple. I'll have to think of a way, and it should be done within a day. Chapter 397. The sky gradually darkened and the night wind was chilly. On the plains, Dongbu Shuang was by his wife's side. The surrounding 100 meters around them was still as warm as spring. Jing Qiu, you will definitely recover. Dongbu Shuang looked at his wife. From afar, Palace Lord Qin and the others were accompanying them. It was not convenient for them to say anything, and they could only sigh silently. They had won the war. Even the threats of the sorcerer god and the great demon god had been destroyed by Dongbu Shuang single-handedly. But now they had met with such a situation. Palace Lord Qin and the others wanted to help as well. Unfortunately, they had no way to do so. The night was long. When the sun rose from the eastern horizon, the warm sunlight once again shone down on the land. Palace Lord Qin suddenly walked to Dongbu Shuang's side. Palace Lord Qin? Dongbu Shuang turned to look at Palace Lord Qin. My original body has also told the various ancestors of the Xia clan about this war in the Infernal Palace. Palace Lord Qin said, our ancestors are all very excited and happy. However, many of them are very dissatisfied with the Terrain Shrine. The countless people of the Xia people believe in the Terrain Shrine. Logically speaking, when faced with the invasion of other deities, the Terrain Shrine should come out to protect us. However, the Terrain Shrine did not act at the crucial moment. Furthermore, according to what you said, Snow Eagle, the Terrain Shrine might have secretly negotiated with them. Dongbu Shuang nodded. Many of the ancestors of the Xia people are furious. They feel that the Terrain Shrine should no longer be allowed to spread their faith among the Xia people. Since they do not want to protect us, we should just get them to scram. There are many world deities who wish to spread their faith among the Xia people. Moreover, Snow Eagle, with your strength, you might even be able to refine the world core in the future. Palace Lord Qin said. Dongbu Shuang nodded lightly. That's right. The Terrain Shrine had believed in him for a long period of time and had contributed countless believers. However, what had the Terrain Shrine done at the crucial moment? Other than the original demigods of the Xia people who took the initiative to help, the true deities of the Temple of the Earth God did not descend. If a world deity from the Temple of the Earth God were to descend and help, even if he were to control the Star Pagoda, the efficiency would be greatly increased. There would be no need for Jing Qiu to risk her life. Even if we don't control the Star Pagoda, we can work together to deal with it. The doppelganger of the Witch God and the doppelganger of the Great Demon God wouldn't be able to trick me and trap me in that black flower. Dongbu Shuang was very clear that the person from the Temple of the Earth God was much stronger than the Great Demon God. Even if the Great Demon God were to release the black flower, that person from the Terrain Shrine would be able to help him dodge it easily. But all of this was just an assumption. That person from the Terrain Shrine did not interfere and allowed everything to happen. Then make it scram. Dongbu Shuang said coldly, enjoying the faith of countless generations of the Xia people, yet at the most crucial moment he still allowed the Xia people to be exterminated. The only thing I'm worried about is that the Temple of the Earth God is definitely hiding the fleshly body of a deity. The moment we take action, the deity's doppelganger could descend at any time. Palace Lord Qin said. Don't worry, even if he descends it would be useless. Dongbu Shuang said, leave this to me. What a joke. His mirage world had already enveloped the entire world of the Xia people, covering every corner. In fact, he could even activate some of the world energy. As long as it was within the world of the Xia people, the deity's doppelganger would not be able to escape. Killing it would be a piece of cake. Just like how he easily killed the doppelganger of the Great Demon God and the doppelganger of the Witch God. Alright, as long as you are confident, Snow Eagle. Palace Lord Qin nodded. He was also holding back his anger. With the Terrain Shrine in such a state, He could not allow the faith of the Xia people to continue. Actually, Mountain Lord He, Chao Qing and the rest had already discussed this. Even the ancestors of the Xia people had come to the same conclusion. They were only afraid of the deity's doppelganger. Now that he had received confirmation from Dongbua Shuiying, Palace Lord Chen immediately took action. A letter was sent to all the transcendents of the Xia people. This included the transcendents of the Terrain Shrine. The Terrain Shrine has been worshipped by the Xia people for 30 million years. Yet, when the Witch God and the Great Demon God incited a calamity to destroy the Xia people, the deity of the Terrain Shrine coldly watched everything unfold, not interfering at all. Such a deity is not worthy of our worship. All the ancestors of the Xia people and the elders of the Xia people will decide. From today onwards, all the Terrain Shrine will be destroyed. The Terrain Shrine will never be able to spread their faith in the Xia people. This was a public letter. It also announced that the faith of the Xia people had entered a new era. The Terrain Shrine had fallen from its pedestal, falling to the same position as the countless demonic gods or even worse, because the Xia people would pursue and attack them relentlessly. At the same time, many detailed arrangements were made. Start spreading the news. Spread the news that the Terrain Shrine has colluded with the Witch God and the Great Demon God to destroy the Xia people, especially those who worship the Terrain Shrine. We must let them understand that the Terrain Shrine has betrayed the Xia people. Dragon Mountain Manor will take action. Destroy all the Terrain Shrine and capture all its members. Those fanatics will be imprisoned forever. The methods of the Xia people were very ruthless. The land of faith. Once the people who offered their faith were filled with endless hatred, the price for the deity who accepted their faith would be extremely heavy. Thus, the Stage 3 world deity of the Terrain Shrine could only watch silently as everything unfolded. He did not dare to stand out publicly. He was afraid that the countless people who worshipped him would be filled with hatred. Once hatred arose, the faith of the past would instead have a negative effect. We, the Xia people, will let that world deity of the Terrain Shrine understand that there is a price to pay for enjoying the faith of the Xia people while coldly watching the destruction of the Xia people. The transcendence of the Xia people gave it their all. Chao Qing even personally took action to capture some of the stubborn transcendents of the Terrain Shrine. Of course, most of the transcendents of the Terrain Shrine quickly stood on the side of the Xia people. Those who could become transcendents? How many of them were fanatics? They cultivated the laws of heaven and earth in their hearts. At the headquarters of the Terrain Shrine, within a sealed room deep underground, a mighty and majestic fleshly body was sealed in ice. His body was a full 20 meters long, bald, and his face was that of an ordinary human. A whirlpool appeared above the frozen fleshly body. The whirlpool was deep and unfathomable, but it was connected to a place far away in the deity world. That place was an ordinary planet within the Boyu Empire of the deity world. A great Stage 3 world deity, Wahai, lived here in seclusion. A human-shaped shadow flew out from the whirlpool and tunneled into the frozen fleshly body. Kakaka, the ice that had been frozen for a long period of time immediately began to crack. The majestic fleshly body stood up. The surface of his body naturally condensed a layer of simple clothes. He extended his right hand and a huge axe that had always been placed in the secret room immediately flew into his hands. He casually placed it behind his back. You actually dare to take away my faith in this mortal world and spread the news that I have betrayed these mortals? The Xia people really deserve to die. World deity Wahai's eyes were filled with rage. Let's see how strong the strongest of the Xia people, Dongbua Shuiying, is. World deity Wahai was very confident. Although it was just a god avatar, he felt that his realm was so high that a mere transcendent would not be able to touch him. World deity Wahai took a step and instantly disappeared. On the grassland. Although the Xia people had undergone many changes, the strongest of the Xia people, Dongbua Shuiying, was still accompanying his wife on the grassland. Jingqiu. Dongbua Shuiying gently combed his wife's hair. A familiar ripple descended. This ripple was still vast and powerful, but it caused Dongbua Shuiying to become slightly nervous and excited. It was the temporal temple. The temporal temple had descended. Dongbua Shuiying, I really didn't expect you to take the initiative to join us in order to save your wife. Although you have rejected us twice previously and the temporal temple will not invite you again, since you have taken the initiative to join us, the temporal temple will naturally not reject you. That majestic and apathetic voice said. The temporal temple actually did not forbid anyone from joining. In the deity world, there were some transcendents who had no other choice but to join the temporal temple and become reincarnators, risking their lives. Please cure my wife, Dongbo Shuang hurriedly said. Chapter 398. You sent someone to tell me that as long as I can save your wife, you are willing to pay any price? Is this true? The voice asked coldly. Yes. Dongbo Shuang nodded. All right. That ripple enveloped Jing Qiu, who was lying on the ground. After a long while, the voice spoke once more. Your wife's soul is on the verge of collapse. You want me to save her? I heard that as long as there is a treasure capable of reconstructing one's soul, my wife can be saved. The temporal temple has scoured the millions and millions of worlds, the deity world and the dark abyss. I believe they have such treasures and quite a few of them. Dongbo Shuang said, I hope that the temporal temple can help me save my wife. I will naturally fulfill my promise. Dongbo Shuang was incomparably nervous and his heart was racing. This was the moment where his wife's fate would be decided. Little brat, aren't you overestimating yourself? The voice said coldly, a treasure capable of reconstructing one's soul? They are all used by world deities to repair their true deity hearts. Even stage 3 and 4 world deities desire to obtain them. Such a treasure? A little brat like you wants me to treat a transcendent? I've already grasped 3 different grade 2 deity hearts, and created a secret skill. Shuang continued, my mirage deity heart is very helpful in refining the world heart. I believe that it won't be long before I make some progress in my cultivation, and I'll be able to refine the mortal world. At that point, I'll be the lord of the material world. My main body can stay in my hometown, while my avatar can roam the outside world. I believe that I will be able to obtain even more than this treasure in the future. Little brat, you truly overestimate yourself. Most stage 4 world deities wouldn't be able to take out such a treasure. Do you know how powerful stage 4 world deities are? They are overlords of their own territories, and are capable of establishing huge empires in the deity world. They are only a step away from becoming powerful existences, and some of them are even comparable to powerful existences. Such a treasure? It's not something you can obtain just by living for a long time. The voice said coldly. Closely following that, the boundless ripple retreated. Shuang was stunned. He stood there foolishly. For a moment he was completely dumbfounded. His mind was ringing and countless thoughts were colliding. I failed. The temporal temple rejected it. That's right. To the temporal temple they have plundered countless transcendents. It doesn't matter if I'm there or not. Even a lord of a material world would be nothing but an ant to the temporal island, one of the 3 great powers of the god world. For me, it's impossible for it to pay the price to invite a powerful being to help, and it's impossible for it to take out a rare treasure that can recreate a soul. From afar, Palace Lord Qin, Mountain Lord He, City Lady Bu, and the others were also there. They could also feel the boundless fluctuations descending. Especially when Dongbo Shuang spoke, they understood that the temporal temple must have descended. But in the end, Dongbo Shuang stood there in a daze, not moving an inch. His expression made Palace Lord Qin and the others feel sorry for him. It seems like it failed, Mountain Lord he said. Wizard Jing Qiu's soul injury is too severe. It's on the verge of collapse. Si Kong Yang shook his head. AI, it's not easy to save her. Who would have thought that even the temporal temple wouldn't be willing to help? City Lady Bu nodded. Snow Eagle is an exceptional transcendent. He's probably extremely rare even in the deity world. But that's the temporal temple, one of the 3 great powers of the deity world. Transcendence with great potential might not even be seen by the temporal temple. Unless it's a legendary grade 1 true meaning transcendent, the temporal temple and even powerful existences would take the initiative to rush over. What's the point of saying so much? Chao Qing's mood wasn't good either. Suddenly, Dongbo Shuang, who had been standing there for a long time, suddenly spoke. I'm too arrogant. I'm indeed too arrogant. I've overestimated myself. Dongbo Shuang turned to look at his wife lying beside him. Jing Qiu was still as beautiful as ever, as if she was sleeping soundly. Dongbo Shuang squatted down and touched his wife's face. Jing Qiu, I'm sorry. I really have no other choice. I can't think of any other way. Dongbo Shuang felt as if his heart was being torn apart. Guilt, self-reproach, pain, unwillingness. Looking at his wife's face, his mind couldn't help but flash with many scenes. They were all memories of him and his wife together. The first time he accepted a mission from the Dragon Mountain Manor. The courtyard door opened and a green-robed female mage appeared. That was the first time he met her. During that explosion he had protected Jingqiu under the weight of countless falling stone slabs. The two of them were in a dark and sealed environment, and he could even hear Jingqiu's nervous breathing. After that, he hugged Jingqiu's waist and rushed out of the pile of rubble. Scarlet Cloud Mountain World, Soaring Cloud Peak. Jingqiu was cultivating her spells by the side, while he was studying his spear techniques. Sometimes he would cultivate for an entire day and night. The two of them would cultivate by themselves, occasionally exchanging a few words. However, when their gazes met, they would understand each other's thoughts. That period of cultivation was truly peaceful and carefree. Later on he was poisoned by the hexing poison. Don't you know that I only have a lifespan of 1 to 200 years? I might not even be able to live for 100 years? Then from now on you must always accompany me. We will always be together. We will travel the world, to the ends of the earth, to see everything in our Xia people's world. Then I, this sickly invalid, will have to rely on you to take care of me in the future. Alright, then you must listen to me. I'll listen to you. Married. After marriage they would freely travel the world together. Behind his free and easy back, he would be tortured by the voodoo poison again and again. Jingqiu would wipe his sweat and accompany him by his side. Sometimes he would hide in his room and not allow anyone to enter, rolling on his bed in pain. And Jingqiu would be extremely anxious outside the room. They would go to the desert together, go to the plains together, and cross the sea together. They would open a restaurant together, a porridge shop together, and a dojo together. They would teach their children together, learn how to paint together, and learn how to carve together. The war arrived. Within the Star Pagoda she had always been holding on. She would rather die than compromise. At that time, her soul was constantly being consumed, and her injuries were getting more and more serious. Others might not know, but she knew very well how serious her injuries were. I'm quite afraid of this war. I'm afraid that I won't be able to hold on and save you. This was what his wife said after they won the war. Dongbo Shuiying's eyes were filled with tears. But I won't be able to save you. Dongbo Shuiying squatted beside the recliner, gently caressing his wife's face. He just stared at her blankly like that. Unknowingly, a majestic figure had appeared beside him. It was that bald man who was at least 20 meters tall and had a huge axe on his back. He stood there, coldly sweeping his gaze across the surroundings. Deity's avatar? The expressions of Palace Lord Qin, Chao Qing, and Mountain Lord He all changed. Dongbo Shuiying. The space and time around this majestic bald man seemed to be in a mess. His figure was also indistinct. His voice was forceful. Do you think that you have the qualifications to challenge me after settling the war started by the Sorcerer God and the others? I'll give you Xia people a chance. Hurry up and restore all the Terrene Temple. Prohibit any news that is unfavorable to my Terrene Temple. If you agree, I'll forget about it. Otherwise, the bald man extended his hand, and the huge axe on his back appeared in his hands. Do you have any rare treasures that can rebuild souls? Dongbo Shuiying turned to look at him and asked. Rare treasures that can rebuild souls? The bald man, world deity Wahai, frowned and shouted. Where did you hear that from? Such a rare treasure is something that a transcendent like you can ask about. Don't say that I don't have it, even the Qilin monarch doesn't have it. You don't? Dongbo Shuiying nodded his head lightly. What rare treasures? Did you hear what I said just now? Hurry up and restore all the Terrene Temple. Prohibit? World deity Wahai hurriedly said. Scram. Dongbo Shuiying turned his head and roared. Boom. With an angry roar, heaven and earth turned dark and misty. An endless gale swept across the heaven and earth and engulfed world deity Wahai. World deity Wahai revealed a furious expression. He held the huge axe in his hand and the surrounding spacetime was changing. However, he couldn't even move an inch. At the same time, a terrifying force struck his body, causing his body to start disintegrating. World power? World deity Wahai's eyes were wide open. He had descended into this god doppelganger and didn't know that Dongbo Shuiying had already reached such a stage. After all, Sorcerer God and Great Demon God didn't tell him everything about the battle. The world power was all-pervasive. He couldn't avoid it at all, nor could he. He was merely at the limits of a demigod. Before the world power that Dongbo Shuiying had mobilized, he couldn't even withstand a single blow. World deity Wahai's body started disintegrating and turning into nothingness. Only the huge axe was left flying and rolling. The world power dispersed. The heaven and earth regained its peace. Dongbo Shuiying was still squatting beside the deck chair. he extended his hand and carried his wife. Then he stood up and walked far away. Chapter 399. Palace Lord Qin, Si Kong Yang, Chao Qing, Mountain Lord He, and the rest watched as the originally terrifying world deity Wahai's avatar was completely destroyed with a single shout. Instantly, they had a clearer understanding of Dongbua Shuiying's current strength. They watched as Dongbua Shuiying carried his wife into the distance, sighing. They wanted to help, but there was nothing they could do. Our Xia people is the strongest transcendent in history. Cultivating for such a short period of time, yet still invincible. Even those deity avatars could be destroyed with a single shout. Si Kong Yang sighed. Even the calamity created by the sorcerer god, the great demon god, was forcefully destroyed by Snow Eagle. He saved the Xia people, but now he can't save his wife. The path of cultivation is filled with all sorts of regrets. Mountain Lord, he said softly, but watching Snow Eagle, he and Mage Jingqiu have deep feelings for each other. I don't know when he will be able to walk out of it. Outsiders can't help with such matters. Chao Qing said. Even if you have monstrous strength, it can't compare to the company of your true love. Being alone, what use is strength? City Lord Bu's voice was faintly discernible. Dongbua Shuiying carried his wife. Hua Hua, the surrounding scenery changed with each step he took. Very quickly he arrived at the peak of Snow Rock Mountain. Water Rights Town was located in the north of Snow Rock Mountain. The mountain peak was still covered in snow. Dongbua Shuiying placed a recliner by the side. There was a thick blanket on the recliner. He placed his wife down and protected her with the blanket. Jingqiu, this is our home. Dongbua Shuiying squatted by the side, looking at the surrounding scenery and the azure river at the foot of the mountain. In the end, I brought you here to have a look. In a while, I will send you to Crimson Rock Mountain. In the future, you will stay there. I will also cultivate properly. The stronger I am, the more hope I will have to obtain a soul reconstruction treasure. Even if your soul collapses before that day, I will continue to cultivate. For example, if I become a stage 4 world deity, I might be able to ask for the help of a powerful existence to revive you from the river of time. Dongbua Shuiying said from the side, even though it sounds difficult, stage 4 world deities are overlords of a region in the deity world, and it is incomparably difficult to cultivate to this level. But I will definitely do it. No matter how difficult it is, I won't give up. Dongbua Shuiying said, Sai, if I knew it would turn out like this, I wouldn't have done it. Back then, I should have let Mountain Lord He go to Crimson Rock Mountain to cultivate. The higher his realm, the greater his chances of controlling the Star Pagoda. However, the rules of Crimson Dust Island allowed him to bring his family. Bringing Mountain Lord He was indeed a little awkward. He's not my family member, ha. Crimson Rock Mountain, Crimson Dust Island. A white-haired old man with a youthful face stood by the lake, his gaze fixed on the distant void. Beside him was the green-haired woman, Shi Wei, and the artifact spirit, Crimson Rock. Ancestor. Shi Wei and Crimson Rock were both incomparably respectful. Ancestor, can you help Dongbua Shuiying? This kid is also an inner disciple of the Sacred Master. He's worth grooming, Shi Wei said. Even though she was pleading, she was still apprehensive. After all, the other party wouldn't necessarily agree just because she begged. After all, even though Dongbua Shuiying's talent was relatively high, he was still just an inner disciple. He didn't even have the qualifications to become a personal disciple. With such potential, from a profit perspective, it wasn't worth spending too much on him. See. The white-haired old man laughed. I guess that the temporal temple is just a spirit artifact, and has a clear set of rules for its actions. It's impossible for it to make a loss. This kid Dongbua Shuiying could be considered an extremely heaven-defying transcendent in the mortal world, but in the deity world, the dark abyss and the river of time, there are still many who are stronger than him. After all, grade 1 true meaning transcendents are the most dazzling geniuses. His potential is still lacking. Ancestor? Crimson Rock said apprehensively. Even though his potential is lacking, the white-haired old man said. But he's indeed a person who cares deeply about his emotions. Looking at his birth, he was able to crazily practice his spear when he was only 8 years old. For his younger brother, he didn't care about his life, and for the Xia people, he never dragged out an ignoble existence. And now for his wife, he's the same. For such a person who cares deeply about his emotions, he definitely won't forget this favor. The white-haired old man had lived for an eternity, and had experienced countless things. He knew that some people might have extraordinary talents, but their temperaments were too ruthless. It was not uncommon for them to turn hostile in the blink of an eye. Right? Dongbu Shuiying isn't such an ungrateful person, Shi Wei added. Good good good. Even though it's a little troublesome, let's help this kid. After descending to Brother Hongchen's place, I have to do something. The white-haired old man nodded. Let's help this disciple of his. As for Brother Hongchen's vengeance, I naturally won't forget it. But we still have to wait for an opportunity. It's best if that brat Huiming can also take that step and become a powerful existence. With Huiming and I working together, there's hope. I can't wait, Shi Wei and Crimson Rock said. You're trapped here. In the end, the Xia people's world has to give birth to a world deity with a Eden treasure to bring you out. There's nothing I can do about it. The white-haired old man said. I'll go out and form a karmic bond with Dongbu Shuiying. I'll leave as well. Farewell, old ancestor. Shi Wei and Crimson Rock were incomparably respectful. Wah. The white-haired old man took a step forward and disappeared from the Eden treasure. Even though it was merely a projection of the world, most people wouldn't be able to enter the Eden treasure. However, the old ancestor had an extraordinary relationship with Sacred Master Hongchen. On top of Snowrock Mountain, Dongbu Shuiying was accompanying his wife. They were talking about many things that had happened in the past. He had many things he wanted to say. At this moment, a white-haired old man with a youthful face appeared 10 meters away. He was smiling as he watched this scene. His appearance had come without any warning. Even Dongbu Shuiying, who was able to mobilize some of the world energy, had not noticed him. Suddenly, Dongbu Shuiying's expression changed. He turned to look at the white-haired old man. How is this possible? I can mobilize some of the world energy. Be it the sorcerer god, great demon god, or even the clone of that stage 3 world deity from the Terrene Shrine, none of them can escape my detection. How is it possible for him to appear next to me without a sound? I only noticed him after seeing him with my own eyes. Dongbu Shuiying was shocked. At the same time he understood. This realm far surpasses that of that stage 3 world deity. Dongbu Shuiying understood. He immediately went forward agitatedly and bowed respectfully. Dongbu Shuiying pays his respects to Senior. You and I are fated, the white-haired old man said. Therefore, I'm here to form a karmic bond. They were indeed fated. Coincidentally, in this era, the old ancestor had descended to the old haunt of his good friend. Thus, he knew some of his good friend's last words. Because he had descended, he had personally witnessed Dongbu Shuiying pass many tests and become a protector disciple and even an inner disciple. He had also seen the great battle outside. Therefore, he felt a sense of closeness towards Dongbu Shuiying. In addition, he felt that this fellow was indeed a sentimental person. Although his talent and potential weren't too dazzling, he was still worth helping. Senior. Dongbu Shuiying had a vague guess. He said agitatedly, Are you willing to save my wife? The white-haired old man smiled and nodded. Star. Chapter 400. Thank you, Senior. Thank you, Senior. Dongbu Shuiying was extremely excited. He believed that since he was able to control a portion of the world energy and avoid being detected by the world energy, he should be someone who had transcended the laws of heaven and earth. It was very likely that he was a legendary powerful existence. However, why would such a powerful existence pay attention to him and appear here? Dongbu Shuiying was puzzled. After all, he was only an inner disciple of Sacred Master Crimson Dust. Even the Temporal Temple refused to help him save his wife. This meant that his talent was not enough to attract powerful existences. However, regardless of the reason or motive, as long as he could save Jingqiu, Dongbu Shuiying would be filled with gratitude. Don't be in a hurry to thank me. I have to make things clear. After I'm done, I will help you save your wife. The white-haired old man said. Senior, please speak. Dongbu Shuiying said. Firstly, the method I'm going to use requires you to give half of your soul origin to your wife. The white-haired old man said, I believe you know how important the soul origin is. If you lose half of it, your cultivation speed will be greatly reduced. Your future will be affected as well. This requires you to consider carefully whether you are willing or not. I'm willing. Dongbu Shuiying said, Isn't it just half of my soul origin? I cultivate the time immemorial scripture, and my soul is many times stronger than when I first started cultivating it. His time immemorial body had advanced to the 2nd level, and his soul had been nourished by his body. Even if he lost half of his soul origin, it wouldn't be any weaker than when the war started. So what if he lost half of his soul origin? Without becoming a world deity, without comprehending a grade, it will be extremely difficult to recover half of your soul origin. This will delay the time it takes for you to become a world deity by 100 times. It might even cause you to be unable to become a world deity. The white-haired old man looked at Dongbu Shuiying. On the path of cultivation, it is extremely difficult to improve. Yet you lost half of your soul origin. Have you thought it through? Don't blame me in the future. Junior has thought it through. Dongbu Shuiying said. All right. The white-haired old man nodded. However, I won't help you for nothing. In the future, I need you to do something for me. Dongbu Shuiying knew clearly that a person who was at least a universe god of the fourth heaven, or even an almighty, had come to help him. One had to know that he was willing to pay any price, but the temporal temple didn't agree to it. Clearly the method to save his wife wouldn't be cheap. It was only natural for the other party to have a request. Senior, please speak. Dongbu Shuiying will not hesitate even if I have to risk my life. Dongbu Shuiying replied. It can't be anything sinister. The white-haired old man flipped his hand, and a golden talisman appeared in his hand. It looked ordinary and the golden talisman flew towards Dongbu Shuiying. This is a token. In the future someone might come looking for you with the same token. At that time you'll have to pay for it. I will remember that. Dongbu Shuiying took the golden token. Such a great favor was worth repaying even if it cost him his life. Previously he was willing to pay any price, but the temporal temple didn't think much of it. Don't think too much, little brat. Your combat power is still too weak. Even if you want to help me, it's useless. The white-haired old man laughed. After saving your wife, you must cultivate properly. Oh right, 1,000 years later, there will be a grand event in the Bloodshed God Palace. You can participate in it, because you will have a chance of becoming a disciple of a powerful existence. Although you are an inner disciple of Crimson Dust, he is already dead, and you won't be able to receive his guidance. You must know that the biggest difference between honorary disciples, inner disciples and personal disciples, is the guidance of a powerful existence. Powerful existences transcend the laws of the world, and they have grasped the complete laws of the world. Their guidance will be able to reach the essence of the world, greatly improving your cultivation. Dongbu Shuiying didn't find it strange that the other party knew that he was an inner disciple of Sacred Master Crimson Dust. He immediately asked, I'm a disciple of Sacred Master Crimson Dust. Can I have other masters? You can. As long as your previous master agrees, Crimson Dust is already dead. He naturally wouldn't refuse. The white-haired old man smiled. Dongbu Shuiying nodded. The path of cultivation couldn't be casually guided by others. But powerful existences had truly transcended the laws of the world. Their guidance was something one couldn't even beg for. Of course, this is just a suggestion. It will allow you to walk more smoothly and walk further on your path of cultivation. As for how you choose, that's ultimately your own business. The white-haired old man said, If you are ready, I'll begin. Senior, please. Dongbu Shuiying said. The white-haired old man had a solemn expression as he walked to the side. Following which, he waved his hand. A huge scar appeared between the heaven and earth. Hong. Dongbu Shuiying could feel the world energy of the entire mortal world rumbling faintly, as though there was some resistance. This old man was clearly just a projection of his world. Although he looked extremely weak, the world energy wasn't able to harm him at all. The white-haired old man continued waving his hand. Countless densely packed golden runes appeared in the sky. These runes were dazzling, and contained an ancient and mysterious aura. Dongbu Shuiying raised his head. He could faintly feel some sort of energy flowing through the runes towards the white-haired old man's body. He didn't know that this was the backlash of the laws of the world. Of course, all of this was blocked by the white-haired old man's true body. Remember, do not resist at all. The moment you resist, all your previous efforts will go to waste. The white-haired old man shouted. Yes. Dongbu Shuiying nodded. Wang? Countless runes formed a huge golden door. The golden door split into two rays of golden light. One ray of golden light shot towards Dongbu Shuiying, while the other ray of golden light shot towards Jianghu, who was lying on the ground. At the instant the golden ray of light touched her body, Dongbu Shuiying immediately felt as though his soul was floating. Although it felt very comfortable, he could also feel that his soul was gradually weakening. However, he could also feel that his soul energy was flowing through the golden door, transforming into a mysterious energy that entered his wife's body. By the side, the white-haired old man was controlling everything with a solemn expression on his face. This lasted for close to an hour. The backlash of the laws of the world was something that the white-haired old man's true body had to resist for close to an hour. Freeze. Following that, a shout sounded. The golden door in the sky began to dissipate soundlessly, and the golden ray of light dissipated as well. Dongbo Shui Ying's floating feeling disappeared as well, and he returned to normal. All right. Since everything is over, it's time for me to leave. The white-haired old man casually pointed with his finger, and the talisman that controlled the flow of time on Jingqiu's body landed on the ground. Brat, remember your promise. Senior, don't worry. Dongbo Shuiying couldn't help but ask. When will my wife wake up? Very soon. The white-haired old man replied, and his figure began to dissipate. Wah! Completely disappearing from the world. At the peak of Snowrock Mountain, only Dongbo Shuiying and the unconscious Jingqiu were left. Jingqiu. Dongbo Shuiying immediately went to his wife's side and squatted down. He looked at his wife's face carefully and waited anxiously. Would she wake up? Would that white-haired old man be playing with him? Or was it some sort of sinister plot? Would Jingqiu not wake up? Although Dongbo Shuiying's rationality told him that such an existence would not be playing with him, he was still worried. Looking at his sleeping wife, Dongbo Shuiying was extremely anxious, to the point that his heart was beating very quickly. Wake up, hurry up and wake up. Dongbo Shuiying waited expectantly. After losing half of his soul, he was in a daze, but he only stared at his wife. Venerable Jingqiu laid there, her face peaceful as though she was in a deep sleep. Her skin was like white jade and everything about her was beautiful. Suddenly her eyelashes moved and she slowly opened her eyes. He looked at his wife's eyes. Snow Eagle? Jingqiu was still a little confused. This is... Dongbo Shuiying laughed excitedly. He only felt that the entire world was filled with color, and the colors were much denser. Even the white clouds in the sky were warm. The dirty snow on the ground seemed to be able to smell the fragrance of the earth. Because Jingqiu had woken up, the entire world had changed. Jingqiu stretched out her hand, and wiped away the tears on Dongbo Shuiying's face. You're crying and smiling at the same time. It's nothing. Can't I just be happy? Dongbo Shuiying hugged Jingqiu. Why am I not dead? I remember that Jingqiu was still in a daze. What do you mean dead? You still want to give birth to a bunch of babies for me? End of the chapter. The story of the Xia people had come to an end. What followed next was the even more vast story of the deity world. This chapter had ended. Tomorrow he would rest for a day to carefully plan out the next plot. The day after tomorrow he would begin updating the 14th chapter of the Grade 1 True Meaning. Yes, that's right, a Grade 1 True Meaning. Chapter 401. Dongbo Shuiying hugged his wife excitedly. Although Jingqiu was filled with doubts, she could sense Dongbo Shuiying's excitement. Thus, she did not ask any further and hugged the snow eagle. After a while the two finally let go. Jingqiu stood up and looked at her surroundings. Snowrock Castle? Why did you bring me here? All right, Snow Eagle, you haven't told me how I recovered? My soul was already. So you knew that your injuries were serious. Dongbo Shuiying shook his head. You actually hid it from me. You are more important. The survival of the Xia people is more important. Jingqiu smiled. You are really... Dongbo Shuiying understood his wife's thoughts. Actually, your injuries were so serious that there was no way to save you. I brought you to Snowrock Castle to take a look at our home. After that, I plan to send you to Crimson Rock Mountain to buy as much time as possible. The more time that passes, the better your chances of survival will be. Then how did I recover? Jingqiu hurriedly asked, and I feel better than ever. My soul is very strong, even stronger than when I was at my peak. Fortunately, a senior helped me. Dongbo Shuiying said, Senior's strength is beyond my imagination. He is at least a stage 4 world deity or even a powerful existence. Jingqiu was shocked. She was just a little female transcendent mage. How could she be saved by such an existence? All right. Let's not waste any more time here. Dongbo Shuiying smiled. Right now, I'm afraid that Palace Lord Qin and many others are worried about us. We haven't even held the celebratory feast. Let's hurry to Infernal Palace. The celebratory feast has to be held as per normal. Jingqiu nodded. It was good that she was alive. After all, she did not wish to die. Infernal World, Xia Capital. This matter has hurt Snow Eagle too much. Palace Lord Qin and Si Kongyang stood outside a mansion. Palace Lord Qin said, No matter what, we cannot allow Snow Eagle to continue sinking. We have to help him out as soon as possible. The best way is to find his family. Let his parents and little brother accompany Shui Ying and help him recover as soon as possible. Si Kongyang shook his head. Fate is really unpredictable. Who would have thought that such a thing would happen after such a great victory? 5 people immediately ran out of the mansion. They were Dong Bo Lai, Mo Yang Yu and her husband, Qing Shi and his wife, and Zhong Ling Palace Head Qin Faction Head Si Kong. You two can directly come in. There's no need to pass a message. Dong Bo Lai warmly said. Palace Head Qin and the rest also felt guilty. In this war the Xia people had suffered very few losses. Although Qiu Qibai had died, that was because he had already sunk. No one else could be blamed. Dongbo Shuiying did his best to turn the tide, but in the end his wife. This caused Palace Lord Qin and the rest to be unable to barge into the mansion. Instead they politely waited outside the door. I do have something to trouble Dongbo Lai, your wife and little friend Qing Shi. Palace Lord Qin said. Palace Lord, feel free to speak. Dongbo Lai hurriedly said. We will do our best. Yes. Palace Lord Qin was about to speak. Brother. Dongbo Qing Shi shouted happily. Sister-in-law. Palace Lord Qin and Si Kongyang turned their heads in shock. Not far away 2 figures appeared in mid-air. The 2 were flying side by side, like an immortal couple. They were Dongbo Shuiying and Jingqiu. Palace Lord Qin blinked in shock, then rubbed his eyes. Stop rubbing, you did not see wrongly. Si Kongyang was also in a daze. Jingqiu is fine. Palace Lord Qin. From afar Dongbo Shuiying and Jingqiu descended. Dongbo Shuiying smiled. Jingqiu has just been treated. I was afraid that you would be worried, so I did not delay and came straight to the Xia capital. Rest assured, Jingqiu is fine now. Let's start the celebration quickly, it has already been delayed for a long time. Good, good, good. Palace Lord Qin nodded but could not help but ask, how is she fine? What? Dongbo Shuiying smiled and did not say much. It might involve a powerful existence, so it was best not to spread it too much. It's good that she's fine, it's good that she's fine. Si Kongyang laughed. The celebration has already been prepared, it will start immediately. It will be held at noon. The reason why they were delaying was because of this. Was it because Dongbo Shuiying, who had turned the tide of the war, had suffered such a huge blow, that they wanted him to participate in the celebration? No one could say anything. Originally they were planning to delay it for another 10 days to half a month. Snow Eagle, what's wrong? Mo Yang Yu asked quietly. During the war Jingqiu was heavily injured, but she has already recovered. Dongbo Shuiying laughed. Mother, let's get ready. The celebration will be held at noon. Ah, we have won this war. Our Xia people will no longer have to worry about us in the future. Although he had lost half of his soul with the 3 deity hearts and the foundation of the Mirage deity heart, Dongbo Shuiying was still very confident that refining the heart of the realm would not be a difficult task. Very soon, a grand celebration banquet was held in the Xia capital. Other than the numerous transcendents who had gathered in the Infernal Palace, countless people in the entire Xia capital, including those legend rankers and even the weaker mortals, were celebrating in jubilation. This was even more joyous than any other festival in the history of the Xia people. From today onwards, our Xia people will undergo earth-shattering changes. Palace Lord Qin presided over the entire celebration and shouted. Whatever sorcerer god, great demon god, temple of the earth god, they will all be chased away. The Xia people's world will definitely be our Xia people's home. No outsider can even think of interfering. Snow Eagle is the most outstanding transcendent in the history of our race. Before long he will be able to refine the heart of the realm. At that time, the Xia people's world will be impregnable. Our Xia people will never have to worry about us again. Never have to worry about us again. Never have to worry about us again. Many transcendents shouted excitedly and raised their wine cups. The Xia people had been looking forward to this for many generations. After all, for many generations the demon army would occasionally descend, or the beast race would retaliate, or some reincarnator from the temporal temple would come and start a massacre. Sometimes there would be invasions from other planes, or even battles of faith. In short, every time the Xia people would bleed a lot. But now all of this was gone forever. After refining the heart of the realm, no one would be able to threaten the Xia people. The celebratory feast was filled with jubilation. Mountain Lord, he brought his wine cup to Dongbo Shuiying's side and said in a low voice, Snow Eagle, in the future, you will forever be in control of the Xia people's world. The few of us feel that we should establish an empire with you as the emperor. An eternal emperor. No need. Dongbo Shuang said, I don't like these things in the first place. In the future I don't need any emperor. Just let the Xia People's Elders Association manage it. Amen? Mountain Lord he nodded. Actually, whether he established an empire or not didn't make much of a difference. After all, as the lord of the material world in the future, and with his current unrivaled position, Dongbo Shuang had enough power to guide the entire Xia people. The celebratory feast lasted for almost an entire day and night. When the sun rose on the second day, Dongbo Shuang brought his wife and left first. The Transcendents were truly too happy, to the point that they were going crazy. Dongbo Shuang held his wife's hand as they traveled 100,000 li in a single step. Very quickly they arrived at Snowrock Mountain. It's too lively. Dongbo Shuang laughed as they landed on the mountain peak. Let's not return to the castle first. Let's walk around the surroundings. Jing Qiu said. All right, I'll listen to you. Dongbo Shuang nodded. Jing Qiu smiled. What will we do in the future? What can we do, mister? A bunch of dolls. Dongbo Shuang joked. After our realms are sufficient, we'll train in cloning techniques and go to the vast deity world to take a look. After all, we're just one of the billions of worlds in the material world. A bunch of dolls? Jing Qiu curled her lips. I don't have any objections. Can you? What do you mean can? Dongbo Shuang widened his eyes. My time immemorial body? I'm talking about your time immemorial body. Your bloodline is so powerful. It'll be difficult to give birth to a bunch of dolls. Jing Qiu covered her mouth. Then let's take it slow. We have plenty of time. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. The husband and wife chatted casually as they strolled around the various peaks of Snowrock Mountain, enjoying the scenery. Dongbo Shuang was in an incomparably good mood. Until now, even after experiencing a celebratory feast, he still felt that everything was so surreal. Previously, his heart was truly filled with grief. But suddenly everything was fine. At this moment, Dongbo Shuang looked at the clouds in the distance and felt that they were so white and soft. Looking at the sunlight, he felt that the sunlight was so gentle and comfortable. Looking at the weeds on the ground, he felt that they were filled with vitality. Everything was so beautiful. Dongbo Shuang looked at the weeds on the ground. There were dewdrops on the weeds. It absorbs nutrients from the earth. The water nourishes it. The wind blows the breath of life to it. The sunlight in the sky gives it energy. Dongbo Shuang could see everything clearly. The breath of the wind was absorbed by the weeds, and the countless rays of the sunlight were absorbed by the weeds. Dongbo Shuang looked into the distance. In the faraway mountain village, smoke could be seen rising from the chimneys. Dongbo Shuang's gaze pierced through the countless obstacles and saw an old lady cooking porridge. The wind swirled around the surroundings. The wood was burning, emitting light and heat. The light and heat were cooking the porridge, and the wood was reduced to ashes, returning to the earth. This world turns out to be. Dongbo Shuang raised his head and looked into the sky. A bird was swooping down from the sky, landing on a duckweed on the surface of a lake. It lowered its head and occasionally drank from the water. The countless rays of sunlight were being absorbed by the bird. The wind was being sucked into its body. The countless plants growing on the ground were providing nutrients for the bird. The bird was drinking water. Earth, fire, water, and wind? Dongbo Shuang mumbled to himself. Earth, fire, water, and wind. I have been searching. So what I need is the breath of life. With the breath of life, the earth, fire, water, and wind will rotate continuously, forming everything in the world. Earth, fire, water, and wind, these are the four main sources of the world. They are truly in harmony with each other. With the breath of life, the earth, fire, water, and wind can truly rotate continuously. This is the world. Dongbo Shuang looked at the vast world. There were countless rules operating in this world. Everything before him was like a beautiful painting. Chapter 402. Dongbo Shuang stood at the peak of Snowrock Mountain, looking down at the myriad existences in this world. He could now see through the profound mysteries of the earth, fire, water, and wind. Hua, a formless ripple began to spread. Snow Eagle, if we have a child, what should we name him? What should we call our son? What about our daughter? Jing Qiu saw that Dongbo Shuang was in a daze and could not help but ask with a smile. But just as she finished speaking, she felt the formless ripple being emitted by Dongbo Shuang. It did not seem to be harmful, but it was gentle and tolerant. Jing Qiu was startled. Could it be that Snow Eagle has comprehended something? This caused Jingqiu to reveal a smile. She did not say anything else and even walked to a place not far away, not wanting to disturb him. At this moment, countless profound mysteries appeared in Dongbu Shui Ying's mind. They were the profound mysteries of the earth, fire, water, and wind that he had cultivated over the years through his extreme piercing, star, and mirage deity hearts. At this moment, these profound mysteries were undergoing a transformation. This is the essence of the world. Only by jumping out of the rut can I see the true nature of the laws of heaven and earth. Dongbu Shui Ying's consciousness had already completely fused with the most fundamental laws of profound mysteries of this world. His spirit was also expanding. The surrounding mountains, the countless flowers and grass, the birds and beasts in the mountains, the surging azure river, the wind in the sky, the rays of the sun, no matter if it was real or illusory, no matter if it was life or death, no matter if it was light or dark, everything here belonged to this side of the world, to this side of the world. Dongbu Shuiying stood at the peak of the mountain like the ruler of this world. A formless ripple that was gentle and tolerant of all myriad existences began to spread out. True meaning of the world? Dongbu Shuiying understood. A legend among legends, grade 1 true meaning of the world. In the eyes of Dongbu Shuiying, the world around him no longer had any secrets, be it the real world, the mirage, the shadow world, or even some of the cracks between worlds. Moreover, he could also use the world energy. Whether it was in the Xia people's world, the God realm, or the abyss, one could use the true meaning of the God realm to mobilize the power of the world. Although he had just comprehended the first realm, the amount of world energy he could mobilize was still very little. If he could reach the deity heart realm, the true meaning of the world would truly be perfected. That way he would be able to mobilize all of the world's energy. The gap between a grade 2 true meaning and a grade 1 true meaning is simply too huge. Dongbu Shuiying sighed inwardly. Grade 5 true meaning, grade 4 true meaning, grade 3 true meaning, grade 2 true meaning, grade 1 true meaning. The further one went, the greater the gap. The difference between a grade 2 true meaning and a grade 1 true meaning was like the difference between heaven and earth. The first stage of a grade 1 true meaning is comparable to the third stage of a grade 2 true meaning. Dongbu Shuiying stopped thinking about it. He continued to perfect it. After many years of cultivation, his mirage, extreme piercing, and star realm had all reached the deity heart realm. His accumulations were too deep. His understanding of the earth, fire, water, and wind elements had increased tremendously, and now he was constantly transforming and improving. Dongbu Shuiying had experienced the crazed spear training of a young man, the 6 years of loneliness at the bottom of the valley, the stubbornness of his cultivation path in the Scarlet Cloud Mountain world, the 100 years of torture from the hexing poison, the rebirth of his mortal body in Crimson Rock Mountain, the pressure of the survival of his race in the war, a series of events, and the hopelessness of his wife's condition. This made Dongbu Shuiying treasure his wife more than ever, and he felt that life and life were more beautiful. This passion towards all living things allowed him to see through the crux of the fusion of the 4 profound mysteries of earth, fire, water, and wind, the aura of life. The aura of life was like a bond, allowing the earth, fire, water, and wind to form a perfect whole. If there was no aura of life, then the world would be deathly silent, as if it was a simple machine. With the aura of life, everything would be different. This required a passion from the heart. Of course, it also required a deep accumulation of the profound mysteries of earth, fire, water, and wind. Without accumulation, how could one comprehend them? For Dongbu Shuiying to be able to take this step, it was also due to the confluence of countless factors. At this moment, when his race was victorious, his wife was saved, and he was accompanying his wife to think about the happiest life they could have in the future, on his hometown Snowrock Mountain, he finally comprehended it. Every single person who could comprehend a grade 1 true meaning was due to the confluence of countless factors and coincidences. However, this required one's own body to be strong, just like an ordinary reincarnator from the temporal temple. Because a powerful existence disguised as a woodcutter saw through the frightening potential hidden beneath the ordinary appearance of this reincarnator, he helped the reincarnator regain his freedom. Under his intentional or unintentional guidance, that reincarnator finally comprehended the grade 1 true meaning, the true meaning of splitting heaven. Of course, most people would not be able to comprehend a grade 1 true meaning. That woodcutter old man had discovered this unpolished jade, which was why he was lucky enough to succeed. Day after day, month after month. Not far away from the mountain peak where Dongbu Shuiying was meditating, Jingqiu had constructed a bamboo house. She was also cultivating and researching spells, accompanying her husband. Palace Lord Qin. Jingqiu was sitting outside the door of the bamboo house, facing Palace Lord Qin. The two of them were drinking tea. Snow Eagle, how long are you planning to cultivate for? Palace Lord Qin was somewhat anxious. That's hard to say. Jingqiu shook her head. Right, Palace Lord Qin, what's so important about you? It's the Beast Clan. Palace Lord Qin explained, even though we've won the war, there are still some remnants of the Beast Clan hiding in the oceanic forest world. After all, the fortress in the oceanic forest world is too stable, and we can't break through it. Once Snow Eagle has refined the world core, he will be able to easily break through it. However, in the Xia people's world, there are large numbers of beast clans living in the mountain range of desolation and the oceans. There are many debates among the Xia people about how to deal with the beast clan. Some transcendents believe that the beast clan is nothing to worry about, and that they should be left behind for the Xia people to train. However, there are also many transcendents who believe that the beast clan and the Xia people have a long history of enmity, and that it's best to get rid of them. Even if we don't get rid of them, we should at least kill 99% of them. Only a few will remain. For such an important matter, we naturally have to ask Snow Eagle for his opinion. Palace Lord Qin said. Jingqiu nodded lightly. How about this? Dealing with the beast clan is an important matter. However, there's no rush. Let's wait. I'll inform Snow Eagle as soon as he finishes his cultivation. Snow Eagle's cultivation is more important. The sooner he refines the world core, the better. Palace Lord Qin finished his tea and stood up. I won't disturb you any further. I'll take my leave first. Jingqiu immediately stood up to send him off. Dongbua Shui Ying's cultivation of the true meaning of the world was smooth sailing. Even for those who did not have much accumulation, as long as they could comprehend a grade 1 true meaning, they would naturally be able to form a grade 1 deity heart. At most, it would take a little longer. Dongbua Shui Ying's Mirage deity heart was a part of the world deity heart. The extreme piercing deity heart and the star deity heart could also be considered as part of the world deity heart. His previous accumulation allowed Dongbua Shui Ying to cultivate very quickly. On the day of his cultivation, he comprehended the true meaning of the world. 15 days later, he reached the stage 2 realm of the true meaning of the world. At this point, he was much stronger than an ordinary grade 2 deity heart. 1 year and 9 months later, he reached the stage 3 realm of the true meaning of the world. There was something special about the world of the Xia people. It was formless, yet it existed. It controlled the operations of the entire world of the Xia people. Be it the mountains, rivers, plants, insects, or beasts, everything had to follow its rules. Even outsiders and the deity avatars of world deities had to follow its rules. It was the world core, the true core of the world of the Xia people. Controlling it meant controlling the entire world of the Xia people. I can finally refine it. When Dongbua Shui Ying first grasped hold of the Mirage deity heart, he could only sense a small portion of the world's energy. But now that he had reached the stage 3 realm of the true meaning of the world, he could clearly see the essence of the world core. Even though he did not know everything about it, it was sufficient for him to refine it. After all, his control over the world had reached an extremely profound level. If he could reach the world deity heart realm, he would already be in the world deity realm. His current realm was definitely at the peak of the deity realm, and it was much more perfect than many other peak deities. Shwa. Dongbua Shui Ying, who was sitting cross-legged on the peak of Snow Rock Mountain, suddenly disappeared. Where did he go? Even though she was cultivating in the bamboo house as a demigod mage, Jingqiu immediately discovered that Dongbua Shui Ying had disappeared. Where did he suddenly go? Jingqiu was puzzled. She did not know that Dongbua Shui Ying had already entered the world core of the Xia people's world. Chapter 403. This was a unique place. It existed in the most mysterious space in the entire Xia people's world. Its importance to the Xia people's world was similar to that of souls to humans. Even powerful existences would not be able to enter this mysterious space. They would be forcefully repelled. There was only one way to enter this mysterious space: a native life form that had reached a certain level of comprehension. Hua. Dongbua Shui Ying appeared in this unique space. Dongbua Shui Ying stood within the void. Countless laws of profound mysteries revolved around him. This was an ocean of laws of profound mysteries, which formed the enormous laws of heaven and earth. The entire Xia people's world operated according to the laws of heaven and earth. Thus, the life forms in this world could comprehend their true meanings. This is the world core? Dongbua Shui Ying looked at the vast expanse around him. He could see countless strange undulations spreading everywhere. Time to refine it. Dongbo Shuiying closed his eyes and began refining it with all his might. His powerful soul energy borrowed the power of the stage 3 true meaning of the world to permeate into the world core. That's right. A powerful soul. After comprehending the true meaning of the world, Dongbo Shuiying finally understood why Sacred Master Crimson Dust had set down this rule. Crimson Rock Mountain disciples who have not grasped a grade 1 true meaning or become a world deity are forbidden from cultivating avatar techniques. As long as one could comprehend a grade 1 true meaning, the profoundness of a grade 1 true meaning would allow one to easily recover the damage done to one's soul. And when one grasped a grade 1 deity heart and became a world deity, the recovery would naturally be faster. The damage done to his soul while saving his wife was rapidly recovering after comprehending a grade 1 true meaning. In just a month he had completely recovered. Furthermore, due to his grade 1 true meaning, Dongbo Shuiying's soul was still growing stronger. It was not without reason that a grade 1 true meaning was called the most perfect and mysterious of all true meanings. Other than the common offensive, defensive and survival aspects, it was also useful in some mysterious aspects, such as the protection, recovery and nourishment of the soul. Over a year passed. Dongbo Shuiying's current soul was at least 3 times stronger than before he saved his wife. This was the nourishing effect of a grade 1 true meaning. This is too comfortable. Dongbo Shuiying felt like he was in his mother's embrace when he was young. His soul was not hindered in the slightest, and the heart of the realm was still protecting him. Although the realm core was incomparably profound, in the end it wasn't creating a new realm core. It was just that refining it was relatively easier. It took Dongbo Shuiying more than 3 days before his soul energy finally permeated the entire world core. The world core had also been branded with his own soul mark. Boom. At the instant he gained control over it, Dongbo Shuiying felt a rumble as his soul trembled. His vision and sense of touch were completely different. At this moment, it was as if he had transformed into the world of the Xia people. Dongbo Shuiying was a huge world and he could clearly see the outside world. In the endless void outside, there were many huge mortal worlds slowly revolving. At a glance, there were countless mortal worlds revolving. Every single mortal world was revolving on its own, and they were also flying. All of them maintained a distance from each other. Although there were trillions of mortal worlds revolving, none of them would collide with each other. Are those the sun and moon? Dongbo Shuiying saw them. Far away in the 2 poles. The humongous sun was at one pole. The similarly humongous moon was at the other pole. They illuminated the entire material world, the entire deity world, and even the dark abyss. They were the 2 most powerful and inconceivable stars. Furthermore, according to the legends, the space where the sun and moon resided was incomparably mysterious. Although one could see the sun and moon in the material world, the deity world, and the dark abyss, it was almost impossible to find them. Dark abyss? Dongbo Shuiying saw it as well. The trillions of mortal worlds were revolving around the darkness in the center. That darkness was the dark abyss. Because of the distance, although Dongbo Shuiying had transformed into the world of the Xia people, he could only barely see a blurry circular darkness. According to the legends, the worlds within the dark abyss were stacked on top of each other. Because there were many stacked worlds, the dark abyss was also known as the bottomless abyss. Dongbo Shuiying suddenly had a thought. The trillions of mortal worlds that he could see suddenly emitted countless ripples of the laws. The huge material world was formed by trillions of mortal worlds. Every mortal world had its own set of laws of the heaven and earth. At this moment, countless ripples of the laws of the heaven and earth were being emitted. It was as though countless water droplets had formed an ocean. What Dongbo Shuiying saw at this moment was a vast and boundless ocean of laws. This was the laws of the material world. It was even more vast and boundless. In front of it, even powerful existences had to lower their heads, unable to enter. Even supreme existences like the creator of the temporal temple, the temporal island lord, could only send people and items into the material world. He was also unable to forcefully send deities into the material world. Because at his unfathomable level, he could only resort to trickery. He was unable to go against the fundamental laws of the material world. The material world, the deity world, the dark abyss, and even the sun and moon had their own laws. Since the beginning of everything, even powerful existences had to abide by the laws. Everyone has to lower their heads before the laws of the material world. Dongbo Shuiying was startled. There would always be a higher mountain. Even though Dongbo Shuiying had refined the world heart, it was only because he was a native life form that he could barely refine it. The laws of the heaven and earth were still as vast as the ocean. But now that he was looking at the higher-level laws of the material world, he was even more shocked. In front of the laws of the material world, even Dongbo Shuiying, who had comprehended a grade 1 true meaning, felt like he was facing a tiny ant in the starry sky. He was too insignificant. He immediately retracted his soul energy, no longer sending it out to sense the huge material world. My current realm is still very low. I'm not even a world deity. Once my realm is higher, I'll have a different feeling when I look at the laws of the heaven and earth in the material world. Dongbo Shuiying retracted his soul energy, carefully observing his hometown, the Xia people's world. There were many rivers, vast oceans and many pearl-like islands. The Xia people's world was beautiful and moving. Seabirds could be seen flying in the sky. Beasts could be seen living at the bottom of the sea. There's no need to be so ruthless towards the beast race. Otherwise, many years from now, I'm afraid I won't be able to see any beast race in the Xia people's world. That's also a pity. Dongbo Shuiying looked at this beautiful world. Suddenly a thought flashed through his mind. Truly, the difference in his realm meant that his mentality was different as well. Now that he had refined the world heart, he controlled the entire Xia people's world. Within the Xia people's world, he could even control the laws of the heaven and earth. He was undefeatable. This was completely different from before. Previously, he could only control a small portion of the world energy. Now, he could control all of the world energy, including the laws of the heaven and earth. He was now the undisputed ruler of the Xia people's world. It could be said that even stage 4 world deities would not be able to threaten him. Only almighty beings were able to use these mysterious and profound methods to attack from many different spaces. This was also the reason why many experts would swear oaths with Blood Blade and the Temporal Island Lord as witnesses. So the Xia people's world is actually so beautiful. Dongbo Shuiying could see many large and small transcendent worlds. He could also see the higher-ups of the beast race and the demons hiding in the oceanic forest world. He could also see the various reflections of the real world. The shadow world, the mirage world, and even the cracks between worlds. Crimson Rock Mountain? Dongbo Shuiying looked at the Crimson Rock Mountain. The Crimson Rock Mountain was emitting a majestic might. It could even forcefully resist the laws of the heaven and earth of the Xia people's world. An extremely small dark void formed around the mountain. Within that dark void, Dongbo Shuiying's mental power was immediately blocked. This caused Dongbo Shuiying to sigh inwardly. Even the Eden treasure left behind by Master is so powerful. How strong must the powerful existences be? I really don't dare to imagine. A ripple suddenly passed through the dark void and came into contact with Dongbo Shuiying's mental power. Is this Snow Eagle? Senior Crimson Rock. Dongbo Shuiying also sensed the familiar ripple and immediately replied. You've refined the world heart? The ripple of the weapon spirit Crimson Rock came from the dark void. Chapter 405. Yes. Dongbo Shuiying's consciousness touched the dark void and transmitted his thoughts over. How can it be so fast? Didn't you just defeat the sorcerer god and the great demon god? It's only been a year, not even 2 years. How can you refine the world core already? Crimson Rock could not believe it. You've grasped the extreme piercing Mirage and Star Deity hearts. The Mirage Deity heart only needs one more step to refine the mortal world. But this step, although it sounds simple, it takes quite a bit of time. The Mirage Deity heart was originally a grade 2 deity heart. Another step would mean reaching the peak of the deity realm. Another step, and it would be a grade 1 deity heart. If Dongbo Shuiying had spent 100 years, it would be fine. But it had only been a year? I've grasped hold of a grade 1 true meaning. Dongbo Shuiying transmitted his thoughts over. Silence. Complete silence. Crimson Rock was silent for a while. You're not lying to me? I can't fake a grade 1 true meaning. Dongbo Shuiying transmitted. Hurry. Come to Crimson Rock Mountain. The artifact spirit urged anxiously. Don't tell anyone that you've refined the realm heart. Don't tell anyone that you've grasped hold of a grade 1 true meaning. Now that you've come to Crimson Rock Mountain, my grade 1 true meaning is actually, hurry. Within the space of the world core. Dongbo Shuiying smiled. During his time on Crimson Dust Island, he had interacted with his 2 senior apprentice brothers many times. How could he not know the importance of a grade 1 true meaning? A grade 1 true meaning could not be easily leaked, but Crimson Rock was worthy of his trust. Because he was a spirit, he had to follow the orders left behind by his original master. Furthermore, as the lord of the Xia people's world, he could control all world energy and even the laws of heaven and earth. A masterless Eden treasure might be able to tear apart an ownerless mortal world, but it could not shake a lord. On top of Snow Rock Mountain. I don't know where the snow eagle is. I sent him a message but he didn't respond. Jingqiu stood in front of the bamboo house, frowning slightly, a little anxious. Jingqiu. Dongbo Shuiying returned to the summit of Snow Rock Mountain from the world heart. Jingqiu turned to look at him and she couldn't help but feel a little annoyed. She growled, Dongbo Shuiying, we just came back from the banquet. You said that you wanted to have a bunch of babies with me, but in the blink of an eye, you suddenly comprehended cultivation. It was one thing for him to cultivate, but after he finished cultivating he suddenly disappeared for more than 3 days. What was it that he couldn't tell me before going? I sent you a message but you didn't respond. I was wrong. I accept my punishment. Dongbo Shuiying coaxed. Jingqiu couldn't help but nod. As punishment you have to make me lunch. Dongbo Shuiying grinned, piece of cake. That year the two of them had roamed the world together for 100 years. During his free time, Dongbo Shuiying would study painting, wood carving, and even cooking. Right, Snow Eagle, during this past year, Palace Lord Qin has sent me many messages. Jingqiu said from the side, while Dongbo Shuiying began cutting vegetables. He smiled as he listened. Even though he was very happy that he had grasped a grade 1 true meaning and reached the stage 3 realm in refining the world heart, he treasured the warmth of being together with his wife even more. At the same time, on Crimson Rock Mountain, one of Dongbo Shuiying's chi avatars arrived at the dark void and was immediately teleported in by Crimson Rock. Why isn't he here yet? Dressed in luxurious clothes, Crimson Rock was anxiously pacing around under a large tree. He didn't lie, right? It should be true, right? But a grade 1 true meaning? That's a grade 1 true meaning we're talking about. The Saint Master has lived for a very long time, and even as a powerful existence, he only managed to snatch a single grade 1 true meaning transcendent disciple after spending so much effort. He's here. Crimson Rock looked in front of him. Wah! Dongbo Shuiying's chi avatar appeared. Senior Crimson Rock. Dongbo Shuiying smiled. You've really grasped a grade 1 true meaning? Don't lie to me and purposely try to become my personal disciple. Crimson Rock was slightly nervous. Senior Crimson Rock, this isn't your usual demeanor. Dongbo Shuiying smiled. The surrounding world began to faintly emit a majestic energy. This energy seemed unremarkable, but it was enough to match a peak deity. A chi avatar could easily match a peak deity just by mobilizing the energy of the surrounding world. Even if he had grasped the stage 3 realm of the true meaning of extremity, he might not be able to do so. The true meaning of the world specialized in controlling the world. True meaning of the world? Crimson Rock immediately recognized it. Grade 1 true meaning. Crimson Rock's eyes brightened. How long have you been cultivating? If you don't count the time acceleration, it's only been 200 years. To be able to cultivate a grade 1 true meaning to the stage 3 realm in such a short amount of time? This cultivation speed can be ranked at the top amongst all grade 1 true meaning transcendents. I really don't dare to imagine that I would be so lucky to meet another grade 1 true meaning transcendent after the death of the sacred master. Dongbo Shuiying smiled helplessly. Senior Crimson Rock, even if I've grasped hold of a grade 1 true meaning, there's no need for you to be this excited. You're the spirit of an Eden treasure that has followed the sacred master for many years. You don't understand. Crimson Rock shook his head. You don't understand what a grade 1 true meaning means. What does it mean? Dongbo Shuiying asked. Let me tell you. Crimson Rock looked at Dongbo Shuiying. The birth of any grade 1 true meaning is enough to shake the entire deity world and dark abyss. Even though you've heard a lot about the value of a grade 1 true meaning transcendent, your vision is still too small, and you don't understand its true significance. Shake the entire deity world and dark abyss? Dongbo Shuiying was puzzled. Crimson Rock nodded. I'm not exaggerating at all. For example, my master, Sacred Master Crimson Dust, accepted 3 personal disciples. One of them was accepted because the Sacred Master liked to make an exception. Another was someone who grasped hold of a grade 1 deity heart within 10,000 years, and the last one was a grade 1 true meaning transcendent. To be able to grasp hold of a grade 1 true meaning at the transcendent realm, he is the eldest disciple of my Crimson Rock Mountain, Huiming. Eldest disciple Huiming's talent is outstanding, and he's currently a stage 4 world deity with a combat power close to that of a powerful existence. This is considered an ordinary standard among grade 1 true meaning transcendents. Transcendents with a grade 1 true meaning, other than those who were unlucky enough to be assassinated before they could mature, the rest are all stage 3 world deities. This is already quite embarrassing. Most of them are stage 4 world deities. Crimson Rock said. There are also a few who manage to take the final step and become powerful existences. There's no need to talk about powerful existences. There are only so few of them in the entire deity world and Dark Abyss, and even stage 4 world deities are few and far between. All of them are overlords who can intimidate an entire region, and those who cultivate formidable secret techniques can even match a powerful existence in combat power. Crimson Rock sighed. In other words, a grade 1 true meaning transcendent is destined to become an overlord in the deity world in the future. Thus, the moment a grade 1 true meaning transcendent is discovered, all the powerful existences will immediately rush over to accept him as their disciple. If they're a step slower, they'll be snatched away by other powerful existences. Crimson Rock looked at Dongbo Shuang. Now you understand why grade 1 true meaning transcendents are so powerful, right? They're practically destined to become overlords of an entire region. Dongbo Shuang nodded slightly. The deity world will only give birth to one transcendent after a long period of time, and most of them will hide this information for fear of being assassinated while they're still weak. Thus, a grade 1 true meaning transcendent is definitely a legend among legends. Crimson Rock looked at Dongbo Shuang. According to Master's orders, a grade 1 true meaning transcendent or one who has grasped a grade 1 deity heart within a year can become a personal disciple. Anyone who receives a personal disciple in the material world will naturally become the new master of my Crimson Rock Mountain. Even though you're temporarily unable to refine the Eden treasure from today onwards, you're the master of Crimson Rock Mountain. You can use all of my Crimson Rock Mountain's resources. Crimson Rock's eyes were filled with expectation. I really hope to see you rise to power in the deity world and become a true overlord, ha. Chapter 406. An overlord of the deity world? Dongbo Shuiying's heart was filled with yearning. Even the sorcerer god, the great demon god, was just a minor character in the eyes of those at the apex of the deity world and abyss. They still had to work hard for the sake of world deity-ranked secret techniques. Those who could become overlords would not have to worry about learning deity-ranked secret techniques themselves, and could even bestow world deity-ranked secret techniques to their subordinates. Master, you are now the new master of Crimson Rock Mountain. I will do whatever you want me to do. I will listen to Master's every command, Crimson Rock said. He had submitted from the bottom of his heart. You will do whatever I want you to do? Dongbo Shuiying looked at Crimson Rock with a smile that did not seem like a smile. Crimson Rock was slightly startled, but he still nodded. Of course. You are the master and I am just a weapon spirit. Then you can just call me Dongbo, Dongbo Shuiying ordered. How can I do that? You are my. Crimson Rock said. This is an order, my first order, Dongbo Shuiying said. Crimson Rock was speechless. He could only obediently nod. All right. However, Crimson Rock felt warmth in his heart. He could feel that Dongbo Shuiying was treating him as an equal. Dongbo Shuiying smiled. So what if he was a weapon spirit? He was still an intelligent life form and he had lived longer than Dongbo Shuiying. But Master, no Dongbo, you can just call me Crimson Rock. You cannot call me Senior Crimson Rock. How can a master call a weapon spirit senior? Crimson Rock said. Good. Dongbo Shuiying laughed. Right, I would like to ask, which powerful existence killed my master, Sacred Master Crimson Dust? I will have to be careful of him in the future, right? Crimson Rock nodded solemnly. Yes, you must be careful. You must not let him know that you are a grade 1 true meaning transcendent. Actually, Dongbo, you must be careful of anyone or any life form. This includes your life and death brothers, your wife and anyone else. No matter how much they trust you, you must not leak this information. Because as long as it was leaked to others, it was very likely that it would spread. Once it spread, you would be in great danger. Even if an Almighty wanted to take you in as a disciple, there would still be many hostile factions that couldn't take you in as a disciple, so they would think of ways to kill you. This is something that every grade 1 true meaning transcendent must be careful about. I understand. Who killed Master? Dongbo Shuiying asked. I can't say his name, Red Rock said. The moment I say it, he'll sense it. Dongbo Shuiying reacted immediately. That's right, I can't mention the name of the Almighty. Of course I can tell you indirectly through other methods, but it's best if you don't know. Once you find out, you'll be on guard against him and feel hostility towards him. Crimson Rock sighed with emotion. Once you feel hostility towards him, the karma between you and him will increase greatly. Hating a person was also karma. Karma? Dongbua Shuiying was startled. I meant karma. Crimson Rock said, actually, since you became a disciple of Crimson Rock Mountain, you've naturally formed some karma with him. But since you don't know who he is and don't have any hatred towards him, the karma between you and him is very weak. Crimson Rock laughed. Actually, Dongbua, you don't have to worry. Almighty existences are high up above. They might fight amongst themselves, but it's unlikely that they'll implicate the younger generation. Dongbua Shuiying was startled. Just like among mortals, when adults fight, it's very rare for them to implicate children. Crimson Rock continued, in the deity world and the dark abyss, there are only a few almighty existences. Their lifespans are eternal. Occasionally, some almighty existences would fall due to a battle, but they would disdain to chase after some weak stage 1 or 2 world deities, much less deal with deities or even transcendents. That would be too embarrassing. Dongbua Shuiying somewhat understood. With the arrogance of almighty existences, they'd rather wait until you become a stage 4 world deity before acting. Crimson Rock said, of course there are exceptions. For instance, if you take the initiative to provoke the almighty existences and challenge their dignity. If you get killed, you can only blame yourself. The other is a grade 1 true meaning transcendent. The majority of them are stage 4 world deities and are destined to be a huge threat. Naturally, it's best to get rid of them as soon as possible. Getting rid of a grade 1 true meaning transcendent, in the deity world and dark abyss, this is an unspoken rule for the almighty existences. It's not considered embarrassing. Dongbua Shuiying was speechless. Thus, if you don't take the initiative to provoke the almighty existences and not reveal that you're a grade 1 true meaning transcendent, the other party won't disregard their dignity and act against you, Crimson Rock said. I understand. Dongbua Shuiying nodded. Provoke? If he wasn't that stupid, then he had to be careful not to expose himself. The temporal temple is able to reverse time. It's very likely that they'll see the scene of me cultivating a grade 1 true meaning. Dongbua Shuiying said, then they'll be exposed. Don't worry. Crimson Rock smiled. It's impossible for the temporal temple to reverse time frequently. This will consume a lot of energy. It's a true god weapon, so it needs to monitor countless reincarnators across countless dimensions, as well as deities and world deities. You're not worth it. Of course, if it knows that you're a grade 1 true meaning transcendent, it'll definitely keep an eye on you. Secondly, even if it knows, its master will know. But the Bloodshed God Palace, Temporal Island, and the Myriad God Palace have long agreed that the Temporal Temple can monitor countless dimensions and easily discover talented transcendents. That's why they've set a rule. For example, it's forbidden to forcibly capture a grade 1 true meaning transcendent. Even if a grade 1 true meaning transcendent is discovered, it can't be exposed. Exposing it is equivalent to destroying a grade 1 true meaning transcendent. That island master of Temporal Island, at his level, wouldn't even bother to deal with a grade 1 true meaning transcendent. The Bloodshed God Palace, Temporal Island, and Myriad God Palace represent the 3 apex existences. They can't be bothered to accept a grade 1 true meaning disciple. Crimson Rock said, the other powerful existences are all fighting to accept a grade 1 true meaning disciple, but the 3 of them are more concerned with their own combat power. Dongbua Shuiying lightly nodded. He understood. The Blood Blade, Temporal Island Master, and Myriad God Palace Head were already standing at the apex of the deity world and dark abyss. The other powerful existences were all a level lower than the 3 of them. At that level, they were too lazy to care about trivial matters, much less grade 1 true meaning transcendence. Just a slight increase in their combat power would have a huge impact. For instance, the Blood Blade was publicly recognized as the strongest. Of the 3 superpowers in the deity world, the Bloodshed God Palace was the largest. Furthermore, the Bloodshed Tavern was opened throughout the deity world and dark abyss. What? It was powerful enough. I understand. Eastern Europe's Snow Eagle nodded in understanding. He then laughed involuntarily. That's right. Even though I might be a threat in the future, I'm still not enough to enter the eyes of those 3. The gap is still too big. Crimson Rock, my wife was previously rescued by a mysterious white-haired old man. Dongbua Shuiying hurriedly asked, do you know who he is? Crimson Rock smiled. He's a good friend of the Sacred Master. He's also a powerful existence. A powerful existence? Dongbo Shuang thought. He was indeed a powerful existence. He's called Chihua Laozu, Crimson Rock said. The moment the words left his mouth, a faint ripple descended and swept across the area. Brat, don't forget our promise. That smiling voice rang in Dongbo Shui Ying's ears. This junior will remember. Dongbo Shui Ying immediately bowed. Haha. That ripple retreated. It left as quickly as it came. Chihua Laozu still did not know that Dongbo Shui Ying had already become a grade 1 true meaning transcendent. Crimson Rock revealed a smile. Ancestor has an extremely good relationship with the sacred master. He has been cultivating on the Sun Star for a long period of time. This time we've also asked him for help. He said that you're a sentimental person and not someone who would forget favors. Coupled with your relationship with the sacred master, he decided to help. I naturally won't forget favors. With such a huge favor, even if I have to put my life on the line, it's something I should do, Dongbo Shuang said. He then asked, you said it's on the Sun Star? According to what I know, although the Sun and Moon stars can be seen, it's impossible to find them. Ordinary world deities might not be able to find them, but Ancestor can still find them. Crimson Rock said, actually Dongbo, what you need the most right now is a good teacher. Although you've become the disciple of the sacred master, he's already dead and has no way to guide you. With your talent, if you have a good teacher, you'll be able to dig out more of your potential and walk further in the future. Ancestor once told me that 1,000 years from now, the Bloodshed God Palace will hold a grand event that he wants me to participate in. He said that I'll be able to become the disciple of a powerful existence, Dongbo Shuang said. Grand event? Crimson Rock suddenly understood. Ancestor is talking about the Bloodshed God Palace's Myriad Flower Feast. Myriad Flower Feast? Dongbo Shuang was puzzled. His Majesty behind the Bloodshed God Palace has summoned many powerful existences to hold a grand feast, bringing out the precious Myriad Flower true fruit for the powerful existences to consume. This grand feast is also the Bloodshed God Palace's Myriad Flower Feast, Crimson Rock said. Chapter 407. In the beginning, it was just a simple banquet where powerful existences would chat freely with each other. Stage 4 world deities could participate and get a myriad flower true fruit, Crimson Rock said. However, for the sake of nurturing the younger generation, His Majesty directly decided that the Bloodshed God Palace would begin a large-scale selection process within the territory of the Bloodshed God Palace. He would select the strongest 100 deities of the younger generation to participate in the Myriad Flower Feast, and every single one of them would be qualified to enjoy a Myriad Flower true fruit. Later on, after many changes, the Myriad Flower Feast has become a grand event for the countless deities of the deity world. Even though the Myriad God Palace and the Temporal Island have held similar events, the Myriad God Convention and the Reincarnation Millstone Battle. Ultimately, His Majesty is the strongest, has the widest network and has friends everywhere. Even powerful existences from the Dark Abyss have come to participate. Furthermore, the Myriad Flower true fruit is incomparably precious, and is extremely beneficial to Stage 4 world deities. The top 100 of the Myriad Flower Feast will definitely become a disciple of a powerful existence. As long as they can compete under the eyes of many powerful existences, even if they fail to enter the top 100, they will still have a chance of being chosen if their potential is high enough. The Myriad Flower Feast is held once every 10 million years. Even though it is held within the territory of the Bloodshed God Palace, many confident deities from all over the deity world will rush over to the Bloodshed God Palace's territory to participate. Crimson Rock sighed. Oh, right, there is an age restriction for participating in the Myriad Flower Feast. What kind of restriction? Dongbo Shuang asked. The participating deity experts must not have cultivated for more than 11 million years, Crimson Rock said. 11 million years? Dongbo Shuang muttered inwardly. That was a long time. How long had he lived? Powerful existences have extremely high realms, and they can see through a deity's true deity heart with a single glance. Looking at their soul, they can determine their cultivation age, Crimson Rock said. Thus, when the time comes for powerful existences to choose their disciples, they will place great importance on their cultivation age. For example, if one of the top 100 cultivators cultivated for 1,000,000 years while the other only cultivated for 8,000 years? How could it be the same? However, Old Ancestor actually allowed you to participate in the next God Palace Myriad Flower Feast. This myriad flower feast is already very close, with only 1,500 years left. Crimson Rock laughed. It seems that the old ancestor believes that you should have the qualifications to participate in the war within 1,500 years. With your age, as long as you can enter the late stages, you'll be able to be seen by the major powers. He will probably accept you as his disciple. Dongbo Shuiying nodded lightly, but I cannot reveal my grade 1 true meaning. Of course I can't expose myself, Red Rock said hurriedly. Dongbo, have you thought about how you're going to cultivate next? Haven't decided yet. Dongbo Shuiying smiled faintly. Hong Shi, you've followed Master for many years. You've seen how Master instructs his disciples, so you should have some good suggestions. Yes. Crimson Rock was not modest. I can't guide you on the detailed laws and profound mysteries, but I've seen many of the most basic ones. Dongbo, you don't need to worry about the true meaning of the world anymore. Condensing a grade 1 deity heart, the world deity heart, is something that happens naturally. Dongbo Shuiying nodded. That's why you need to set your sights higher. Becoming a world deity is just the beginning. Crimson Rock said, you should first cultivate an avatar technique, one main body and one avatar. His true body would continue to cultivate the true meaning of the world and even form a world deity heart, using the world deity heart as the foundation to condense a true deity heart. As for the avatar, it can choose another deity heart as its foundation and condense a true deity heart. Dongbo Shuiying was shocked. With other deity hearts? Right? Crimson Rock said, grasping a grade 1 deity heart makes one a stage 1 world deity. Once one grasped hold of 2 grade 1 deity hearts and fused them together, one would become a stage 2 world deity. Mastering 3 grade 1 deity hearts and fusing them into one would make one a stage 3 world deity, while fusing 4 would make one a stage 4 world deity. You should know the basics, right? I know. Dongbo Shuiying nodded. He had chatted with his 2 senior brothers before. A grade 1 deity heart was very difficult. Mastering 2 was even more difficult. After all, they represented different directions. For example, the world deity heart was a type of tolerance. The chaotic deity heart was the true ultimate destruction, the true ultimate extremity. But it was precisely because it was the ultimate extremity that it created balance and stability. There was also the splitting heavens deity heart, which was also a type of extremity. But it was precisely because it was too extreme that it created balance. Because it was a completely different direction. Dongbo Shuiying had cultivated his spear techniques for many years, and his heart was inclined towards tolerance. He had comprehended the world deity heart. If he wanted to comprehend another deity heart, he would need to undergo a complete transformation from his spirit to his bones. As for fusing them, that was simple. After all, grade 1 deity hearts were the essence of the laws of the world. They were innately compatible and fusing them wasn't difficult. What was difficult was comprehending a new grade 1 deity heart. Thus, your current goal is to comprehend even more grade 1 deity hearts, Crimson Rock said. Let me give you an example. Your true body uses the world deity heart as its foundation, while your avatar uses the extreme piercing deity heart as its foundation. In that case, your avatar's soul will fuse with the extreme piercing deity heart, giving it a natural affinity with the extremity, greatly increasing the efficiency of comprehending it. In the future, when your extreme piercing deity heart breaks through to the extremity deity heart, you will have comprehended a second grade 1 deity heart. At that time, you will be a stage 2 world deity after successfully fusing the 2 grade 1 deity hearts. Dongbo Shuiying nodded slightly. It's a pity that the avatar technique can only create a single avatar. If only I could create a few more, each avatar would have a true deity heart and walk different paths. That way my cultivation would be much faster. Crimson Rock sighed. Can I cultivate a world deity heart while my true body chooses a grade 2 deity heart to condense a true deity heart and slowly cultivate it? Dongbo Shuiying asked. You can't. Crimson Rock said, firstly, you won't be able to become a world deity in a short period of time. Secondly, you were the first to comprehend the world deity heart, which means that your talent in this aspect is extremely high. In the future, when you fuse all the grade 1 deity hearts, the world deity heart will definitely be the main one. Thus, you must properly research the world deity heart and even comprehend the world deity heart's secret art. Dongbo Shuiying nodded lightly. Have you thought about what your avatar will choose as its true deity heart? Crimson Rock asked. The star deity heart. Dongbo Shuiying said, once the star deity heart improves, there is hope for it to become a chaotic deity heart. Among the deity hearts I have grasped, The Mirage Deity Heart is the World Deity Heart, the Extreme Piercing is the Extremity Deity Heart, and the Star Deity Heart is the Chaotic Deity Heart. Among them, the Extreme Piercing is purely offensive, and I don't know how to cultivate it even if I want to improve it. After all, I haven't gained any insights into the other aspects of the Extremity Deity Heart yet. As for the Star Deity Heart, it is very balanced and can be improved in all aspects. As long as I make a breakthrough in all aspects, it will naturally evolve towards the chaotic whole transformation. Moreover, in the past few hundred years I've spent the most effort on the secret art, chaotic suppression. I've already gained some insights regarding the chaotic whole. I've even made some vague conjectures about the star deity transformation into a chaotic whole. Crimson Rock laughed. Right, this is another way to cultivate, to research world deity grade secret techniques. Dongbo Shui Ying's heart stirred. The Great Chaotic True Force is a world deity grade secret technique that uses the chaotic whole as its foundation. The more you comprehend it, the more you'll understand about the chaotic whole. It will be of great help to you in cultivating the chaotic whole heart. The time immemorial body is most suitable for the world deity heart. Since you're already cultivating it, I'm afraid this will be the secret technique you'll have the greatest achievements in the future. Extremity Deity Heart, you should also choose a suitable world deity grade secret technique. World, chaotic whole and extremity are just 3. In order to become a stage 4 world deity, you'll need 4 grade 1 deity hearts. Crimson Rock asked, do you have a plan? I've heard the sacred master say that it's better to prepare as early as possible. Hui Ming has also decided on a direction from the very beginning. Dongbo Shuang smiled. He had long since thought of this point. He immediately said, the space-time deity heart. Chapter 408. Once I grasp the world deity heart, the world deity heart will naturally contain the grade 2 deity heart, the space deity heart. Dongbo Shuang laughed. When the time comes, we can use this spatial deity heart as the foundation to slowly evolve it. There is a chance that it will evolve into the space-time deity heart. Heaven and earth were originally one. True intents were not clearly separated and there were many overlaps. The true meaning of the world contained the complete true meaning of space, true meaning of mirage and many other true meanings. Once a deity heart was formed, the world deity heart would naturally contain many other grade 2 deity hearts. Moreover, the true meaning of the world even contained a portion of the true meaning of star. The true meaning of spacetime was a combination of time and space. Therefore, world and spacetime both included space. In the future, when Dongbo Shuang comprehended the world deity heart, he would naturally grasp the space deity heart as well. With the space deity heart as the foundation, it would be relatively easy for him to evolve towards the spacetime deity heart. Smart. Crimson Rock laughed heartily. As your realm deepens, your control over time will become increasingly acute. When you combine time and space, the spacetime deity heart truly does have a great chance. Yes. Dongbo Shuang nodded. World, chaos whole, extremity and spacetime. These are the 4 grade 1 deity hearts that I wish to grasp. However, even though it's a beautiful dream to evolve a grade 2 deity heart to a grade 1 deity heart, is simply too difficult. In the divine world there were billions upon billions of gods. What about those who became world deities? It was extremely difficult to evolve a grade 2 deity heart into a grade 1 deity heart. The number of world deities in the deity world was still very low. In fact, the number of world deities in the vast deity world starfield could be counted on one's fingers. It's difficult for them, but how can they compare to you, Dongbo? Crimson Rock continued, you've comprehended a grade 1 true meaning, and it won't be long before you have a grade 1 deity heart. After that, comprehending the second and third deity hearts shouldn't be too difficult. At most, you'll need to spend a little more time. I believe that as long as you work hard and become a stage 4 world deity, Dongbo, you should be able to succeed. Furthermore, your foundation is very solid. You've already laid a very good foundation for your current path of 4 grade 1 deity hearts. Take your time. Dongbo Shuang smiled. There was no rush. I'm very anxious, but you're not anxious at all. Perhaps this is the difference between us. In the end, I am an artifact spirit. In terms of temperament, there is still a huge difference between you cultivators. Crimson Rock laughed. Oh right, take your time to choose a world deity grade secret technique. Comprehending a world deity grade secret technique will be of great help to comprehending a grade 1 deity heart. Alright. Bring me over to have a look, Shuang said. Now that he had become the new master of Crimson Rock Mountain, Dongbo Shuiying even had the authority to impart world deity-ranked secret techniques to others. However, in order to keep the Grade 1 true meaning a secret, he naturally could not casually impart it to senior apprentice brother He Fei Yun or senior apprentice brother Gu Bai. Fortunately, the weapon spirit, Crimson Rock, was in control of the entire Crimson Rock Mountain, so it was impossible for the two senior disciples to break the scene of Dongbo Shuiying cultivating a Grade 1 true meaning. I'll choose this one. Dongbo Shuiying carefully made his selection. Within a cavern, a fist-sized clump of violet flame floated. The flame floated, yet it faintly emitted a terrifying heat. Just by looking at it with his naked eyes, Dongbo Shuiying felt as if the entire spacetime and the entire world were about to collapse. This clump of flame contained a world deity-ranked secret technique inheritance, which was also chosen by Dongbo Shuiying. Haha, this extreme star abyss flame is an extremely savage flame secret technique. Crimson Rock laughed. It's a secret technique created by an existence from the dark abyss that even the sacred master admires. That existence had some friendly relations with the ancestor. The ancestor spent most of his time cultivating on the sun star and was most proficient in flames. After exchanging cultivation insights with that existence created this world deity-ranked secret technique, the extreme star abyss flame. He felt that the ancestor had contributed greatly, so he gifted this secret technique to the ancestor, allowing him to impart it to outsiders. The ancestor then passed it on to the sacred master, allowing our Crimson Rock Mountain lineage to have a world deity-ranked secret technique to learn. Dongbo Shuiying nodded. The extreme star abyss flame refers to the sun star. Abyss refers to the dark abyss. Once this secret technique reaches the grand completion stage, one can rely on this secret technique to possess the might of a powerful existence. Without a way to deal with it, even a stage 4 world deity would be burnt to ashes. Even powerful existences would suffer greatly from it, Crimson Rock praised. Dongbo Shuiying sighed. But to truly reach the grand completion stage, how difficult is that? For instance, the great chaotic true force and the time immemorial body were extremely difficult to reach the grand completion stage. Most stage 4 world deities would not be able to do so unless they were extremely suitable and had an extremely deep understanding of the laws and profound mysteries. Among stage 4 world deities, there were some who could truly reach the grand completion stage and have combat power that could match powerful existences. This one corresponds to the extremity deity heart and the spacetime deity heart. Which one do you plan on choosing? Crimson Rock asked. There's no rush. Once I've successfully cultivated the world deity heart and grasped the spatial deity heart, I'll make my choice then, Dongbo Shuiying said. He had already chosen the 3 world deity-ranked secret techniques. Comprehending the great chaotic true force would be extremely helpful in comprehending the chaos. The time immemorial body corresponded to the world. The extreme star abyss flame corresponded to the extremity. As for the one that corresponded to spacetime, he would temporarily set it aside. Currently, his grasp of spacetime was still low, so he would make his choice once his comprehension was higher. When will I be able to grasp such a flame? Dongbo Shuiying raised his head and looked at the small bundle of violet flames floating within the cavern. Although it was small, the pressure it emitted was much greater than that of the sun star. Of course, this was also related to the sun star being too far away. Mortals would not feel much pressure when looking at the sun. Let's go, Dongbo Shuiying said. South together with Crimson Rock, they walked out and strolled on the peaceful Crimson Dust Island. Right, is Ken Huang, the one who challenged the sky-reaching vine with me, still around? Dongbo Shuiying asked. That sword-wielding brat? Crimson Rock nodded. He's still alive, but he's quite pitiful. He managed to break through and grasp a grade 2 deity heart under his madness, but he's still stuck in the 3rd vine leaf world. As he spoke, Crimson Rock waved his hand. Immediately, an image appeared in midair. It was the scene of Ken Huang fighting the fat giant on the arena. Sky-reaching vine, 3rd vine leaf world. The test here was an arena battle. There were 2 arenas. One of the arenas had 3 children while the other had a fat giant. One had to win both arenas to pass the trial of the 3rd vine leaf world. Just a little bit more. The fat giant's palm struck the arm of the golden-robed youth, Ken Huang, at lightning speed, sending Ken Huang flying out of the arena. AI, my true meaning of sword has already broken through, and I've grasped the deity heart of the sword. Ken Huang gritted his teeth. Why can't I win against this fat giant? Back then, Dongbo Shuiying had relied on his extremely powerful secret skill, star meteor annihilation, and the assassination effect of the true meaning of mirage to win by a fluke. Persei had relied on his 8 arms and his only deity heart to win in a head-on battle. The Maishan master had relied on his space deity heart to barely win. How can it be me? I've grasped the deity heart of the sword, but this fat giant is clumsy. I'm always lacking by just a little bit. Why is it like this? The golden-robed youth, Ken Huang, had a crazed look in his eyes. The world deity who had sent him back then had told him that 20 years had long passed. The Xia people might have been exterminated, and the sorcerer god and the great demon god might have already surrounded Crimson Rock Mountain. However, as long as he didn't die or give up, the mission wouldn't be considered a failure. He was still holding on. Big brother Skymist, sister Shuiwei. Am I really going to die without being able to defeat him? The golden-robed youth, Ken Huang, had tears in his eyes. No, I will definitely win. I must win. On Crimson Dust Island, Dongbo Shuiying looked at the scene in midair and shook his head lightly. The majority of Temporal Temple's reincarnators are pitiful people. Dongbo Shuiying sighed softly. Crimson Rock, can you help him out in secret and let him pass? You are the master of Crimson Rock Mountain. Everything within Crimson Rock Mountain follows your will. Crimson Rock smiled. Then I'll help him out. Dongbo Shuiying nodded. All right, it's just one more honorary disciple. Crimson Rock smiled. I'll definitely do it quietly. Forget about Ken Huang, even Shuiwei won't be able to discover any flaws. Within Crimson Rock Mountain, the artifact spirit, Crimson Rock, was unparalleled. Dongbo Shuiying nodded. Dong dong dong, an oval-shaped embryo was currently expanding and contracting within the blood water, emitting a sound similar to a heartbeat. Dongbo Shuiying stood to the side and nodded slightly. This was an embryo. If he wanted to cultivate an avatar technique and cultivate an avatar, he would need a fleshly body as a carrier. This carrier had to be nurtured as an embryo, and it wasn't much different from nurturing a deity's deity avatar. Of course, the price wasn't too high. It was just that the sorcerer god and the great demon god had to use the temporal temple to transport their deity avatars. Naturally, it was very expensive. Crimson Rock Mountain had countless treasures, so nurturing an embryo was much easier. The embryo needs 2 more years to mature, Crimson Rock said. Once it matures, it will cultivate an avatar technique. Dongbo Shuiying nodded. At that time, the avatar will first become a deity. The avatar would use the star deity heart to condense a true deity heart and become a deity first. Chapter 409. 2 years later. Within a cultivation paradise of Crimson Dust Island, there was a sealed space with countless deity imprints revolving around it. On the ground, there were a total of 16 stone pillars, each of which had a crystal ball attached to it. Within the crystal ball was a blood-colored tooth. In the center of the 16 stone pillars, Dongbo Shuiying was seated cross-legged. Beside him, there was an embryo within a puddle of blood. This was a cultivation paradise for a personal disciple, and it was also the best. As for the sacred master of the past? After reaching the realm of powerful existences, there was no need for such a paradise. Split. The seated Dongbo Shuiying suddenly had an illusory figure fly out from his body. This figure had the appearance of Dongbo Shuiying, and it directly entered the embryo beside him. Reincarnate. At this moment, Dongbo Shuiying's soul had split into 2. After the newly split soul entered the embryo, it immediately felt warm and comfortable. The fleshly body within the embryo was still young, but it was already capable of protecting the soul. After all, it was an embryo that was specially nurtured based on Dongbo Shuiying's soul. This feeling is really strange. He could feel his small hands and feet, but he could not open his eyes. His surroundings were also restricted, and his entire body was curled up within the embryo. Time immemorial. The small hands and feet of Dongbo Shuiying within the embryo naturally transformed into a sitting posture, causing the entire embryo to be protruding. The moment this embryo matured, it naturally had a transcendent body. It immediately attracted a huge amount of world energy into its body, rapidly condensing qi within its Dantian qi si. At the same time, its body began to transform into the time immemorial body. The world energy within Crimson Dust Island surged endlessly. Dongbo Shuiying did not stop there. In one breath, he cultivated his body to the 2nd level of the time immemorial body. Back when he was within the sacred sorcerer Camellia, Dongbo Shuiying had relied on the Mirage deity heart to reach the 2nd level of the time immemorial body. But now that he had comprehended the grade 1 true meaning of the world, the true meaning of the world was the most suitable for cultivating the time immemorial scripture. The third level of a grade 1 true meaning was sufficient to push this world deity-ranked secret technique to the third level. However, in the world of the Xia people, he had long been invincible. Naturally, there was no need for him to be in a hurry to improve. After all, in front of his two world deity seniors and others, he still had to hide his abilities. The aura of the time immemorial body's third layer was something that the two senior brothers could easily sense. Hua! The embryo split open. An infant flew out from within and grew rapidly. Very soon, it had the same height and appearance as the white-robed Dongbo Shuiying, who was sitting cross-legged beside it. The only difference was that a starry blue robe had materialized around the infant's body. The two Dongbo Shuiying looked at each other. One of them was wearing a white robe while the other was wearing a blue robe. It's the main body and the doppelganger. The two Dongbo Shuiying spoke at the same time. Actually, both of them have the same soul and the same physical body. There's no difference between them. Master is right. There is indeed no difference. No matter which one of them dies, they will all die. Regardless of which one of them dies, the other can cultivate an avatar technique and refine another doppelganger. Crimson rock appeared by the side. At this moment, the souls of the two bodies were rapidly recovering. The true meaning of the world had the effect of nourishing and restoring the soul, so it wouldn't be long before the two souls were completely restored. Could it be that there's only one main body and one doppelganger? Dongbo Shuiying asked. Can't the soul be divided into 3, 4, or 5 doppelgangers? I've heard that His Majesty from the Bloodshed God Palace has an avatar technique that allows him to create 2 great doppelgangers. Including the main body, he has 3 bodies. Crimson Rock nodded. But this is a secret technique that His Majesty doesn't teach to outsiders. Even powerful existences can't obtain it. Apart from His Majesty, I've heard that avatar techniques can only maintain 2 bodies at most. It's impossible to cultivate a third. Perhaps I'm just ignorant. If even you are ignorant, then what am I? At the very least, you know that His Majesty can have 3 bodies. Dongbo Shuiying laughed. Now that the doppelganger has been formed, it's time for him to open his deity sea and become a deity once his soul is restored to perfection. Xia people's world. On a boundless grassland, Dongbo Shuiying, dressed in starry blue robes, sat cross-legged. World energy surged around him, isolating him from all probing. The stage 3 true meaning of the world was extremely effective in recovering one's soul. It only took him 2 days to fully recover. True deity heart. Within his consciousness. Hong Long Long. His soul was undergoing a transformation. Formless laws of profound mysteries began fusing with it. In the past, his soul had always been unpredictable and ever-changing. But now, it was undergoing a transformation. As the laws of profound mysteries of the star deity heart fused with his soul, Dongbo Shuiying's soul also began transforming. It gradually became more and more corporeal. Within his consciousness, a tiny person was sitting cross-legged. His entire body was emitting a dim light. This tiny person was like a star, suppressing everything in its surroundings. This feeling is completely different. After condensing his true deity heart, Dongbo Shuiying immediately felt like he was a planet. The profound mysteries of the laws of the world, the chaos whole, felt much closer to him. Many of the puzzles he had in the past were now solved, and he gained many benefits. Condensing a true deity heart is indeed of great help to cultivation. Opening the deity sea. Dongbo Shuiying immediately focused his attention on his Dantian's qi sea. Ordinary transcendent bodies needed to take time to increase their battle qi, even with origin stones. However, the Dantian qi sea of the time immemorial body was innately powerful. It could easily contain countless amounts of heaven and earth energy. It had long since cultivated its battle qi to the limits of a demigod. Within the Dantian qi sea of his Dantian, flames raged. This was the completely corporeal battle qi of a demigod. Open. With a thought. The qi sea of his Dantian, which was originally filled with countless amounts of flaming battle qi, suddenly began to contract under the control of the star deity heart. The countless amounts of transcendent battle qi converged into a huge flaming planet. The flaming planet constantly revolved, carrying with it the laws of profound mysteries of the star deity heart. As it revolved and became corporeal, its power began to transform. After the transcendent battle qi became corporeal and fused with the laws of profound mysteries, it began to transform into another kind of power, godly power. It was even more powerful and mystical. Rumble, the surging flaming divine power surged violently, sweeping through every part of his Dantian's Qi Sea, forming a vast and turbulent sea of divine power. Opening the deity sea. This was the foundation of a world. Only those who had comprehended a grade 1 deity heart would be able to transform the chaotic and violent deity sea into a world. When the deity sea was opened, in the skies above the grassy plains, an illusionary image of a huge ocean that spanned over 100,000 kilometers appeared. What kind of concept was 100,000 kilometers? Countless residents of the Xia people's world could see this enormous illusionary image when they raised their heads. He became a deity? Opening a deity sea? Such a huge deity sea? So. One by one, the transcendence of the Xia people soared into the skies. Looking at the distant illusionary image of the huge ocean, they were somewhat dumbfounded. This was because Dongbua Shuiying was protected by the energy of the world around him. Everyone, don't worry. The Snow Eagle has sent news that he is opening his deity sea to become a deity. Palace Lord Qin hurriedly spread the news. So it's the Snow Eagle. No wonder. One by one, the transcendence of the Xia people came to a sudden realization. Currently, Dongbua Shuiying's status was simply too high. Although Chao Qing had become a deity, everyone still wished for Dongbua Shuiying to establish an empire and become an emperor. Why was that so? It was because Dongbua Shuiying was simply too powerful. In the world of transcendence, strength was more important than anything else. Furthermore, Dongbua Shuiying had made countless contributions to the Xia people. Then what should we call Dongbua in the future? Emperor Dongbua? Calling him Great Emperor Shuiying? Emperor Dongbua? The transcendence of the Xia people began to discuss amongst themselves. While the Xia people were happily discussing amongst themselves, in one of the transcendent realms of the Xia people's world, the Oceanic Forest world, the transcendents of the Beast clan who were still surviving by relying on their fortresses were all extremely anxious. Grand Elder, Dongbua Shuiying has already opened his deity sea to become a deity. According to the great sorcerer god, he was already able to control a bit of the energy of the world. Now that he has become a deity and condensed a true deity heart, I'm afraid his cultivation speed will be even faster. It won't be long before he can refine the heart of the realm and become a lord. When that time comes, we won't even be able to resist. Many transcendents of the Beast clan were gathered in a large hall. Elder Ao Lan sat on an ancient wooden chair with a white bone scepter in hand, silently listening to his fellow clansmen speak. Elder Ao Lan could feel their anxiety as well as their despair for the future. Indeed, there was no hope. Elder Ao Lan sighed in his heart. Even the great sorcerer god and the great demon god had been defeated. What else could they do? Chapter 410. The Beast Race is finished. Great Elder Ao Lan looked at the group of transcendents from his clan in front of him, his heart filled with sorrow. The humans of the Xia clan have given birth to a peerless character like Dongbua Shuiying. Regret that in the past, whether it was me or the sorcerer god, we all underestimated the degree of threat Dongbua Shuiying posed. Now that he has risen, no one can stop him. He will become the realm lord of the Xia people's world, and my beast race will fall into oblivion and be exterminated. Great Elder Ao Lan closed his eyes. Sorrow. Helplessness. But he was clear that this mortal world was destined to belong to the Xia people. His beast race had been defeated, utterly defeated. In the distant dark abyss, the great demon god De Hao knew that Dongbua Shuiying had become a deity. After all, there were many believers of the demonic god among the countless mortals of the Xia people. Even though the demonic faction had been destroyed, there were still a few remaining believers. Now that Dongbua Shuiying had refined the world core as a realm lord, he could naturally investigate and destroy everything. But first he had to keep a low profile and hide his strength. Second, those mortal fanatics were of little threat, so he could let Dragon Mountain Manor deal with them. There was no need for him to act personally. He became a deity? De Hao's eyes were filled with cold intent. A deity sea of 50,000 kilometers? He really became a deity with a grade 2 deity heart. Evolving a grade 2 deity heart to a grade 1 deity heart is too difficult. But he has only cultivated for a short period of time. In just 200 years he has grasped 3 grade 2 deity hearts, created a secret skill, and obtained the inheritance of Crimson Rock Mountain. I estimate that he will become a stage 1 world deity in 10 million to a million years. As for a stage 2 world deity? Difficult. De Airhouse sneered. Becoming a world deity was difficult. But from De Airhouse's point of view, even though they were enemies, he had to admit that Dongbua Shuiying had a high chance of becoming a world deity. But a stage 2 world deity? Without the guidance of a powerful existence, it would be too difficult. Just like the sorcerer god, he had refined the world core to become a realm lord within 10,000 years. Wasn't he just a stage 1 world deity? After becoming a god, Dongbua Shuiying also hosted a celebratory banquet in Snowrock Castle. Chao Qing and many other transcendents attended. Snow Eagle. Si Kongyang raised his bronze wine cup. All Master. Dongbua Shuiying smiled. Your level of cultivation is truly extraordinary. You've already become a deity, but I can't sense any of your aura at all. I can't even sense the aura of divine power from you. Si Kongyang sighed. Dongbua Shuiying smiled. His clone had long since gone to Crimson Rock Mountain, while his main body was hosting the celebration feast. He hadn't even become a god yet, so naturally he didn't have any divine power. However, as a realm lord, Dongbua Shuiying could conceal his aura within his own world. Even a world deity would not be able to see through him. Congratulations. I didn't expect you to become a deity faster than me. Si Kongyang was filled with emotions. I wonder if I'll be able to open my deity C before my lifespan ends. Dongbua Shuiying didn't say anything. Mountain Lord He, Si Kongyang, and the others all had similar worries. Becoming a deity was truly difficult. Even with the help of some rare treasures, the chances of success were extremely low. Let's not talk about this. I came to find you to ask you, are you sure you don't want to become the emperor? Si Kongyang isolated himself from the surrounding sounds and said carefully, you'll be a realm lord in the future. If you become the emperor, you'll be an eternal emperor. Over the long years, our Xia clan has always had an emperor, even when the empires changed over time. There's no need. Dongbua Shuiying shook his head. I don't care about such things. There's no need for you to care either. Si Kongyang said, this will be of help to your Dongbua clan. Now that I've become a realm lord, there's no need for my clan to worry about the future. Dongbua Shuiying laughed. At this point, giving them more power isn't a good thing. All right. Si Kongyang nodded. Then let me ask you, have you thought of a title? Now that you've become a deity, will the outside world still call you Dongbua Shuiying? Title? Dongbua Shuiying was startled. His rise to power was extremely fast. Back then he was too young and hadn't even cultivated for 100 years. Thus he wasn't in a rush to think of a title. After rising rapidly, he was quickly poisoned and tortured by the hexing poison for 100 years. Naturally, he didn't have the mood to think of a title. After disregarding everything else and entering Crimson Rock Mountain, a war broke out the moment he exited. Until now he had nothing to do. The internal affairs of the Xia people had also begun to change. As the person with the highest status, Dongbua Shuiying naturally had to come up with a title. I really haven't thought about it. Dongbua Shuiying curled his lips helplessly. Surname is fine too. Si Kongyang couldn't help but say, first name is fine too. Dongbua Shuiying said. Si Kongyang nodded. Why don't we call him Monarch Dongbo? If you don't have any objections, I'll talk to the Palace Lord Chen and the others. All right. Dongbua Shuiying nodded. You sure are straightforward. Si Kongyang felt helpless. The news spread very quickly, and Dongbua Shuiying now had a title similar to the Purple Thunder Emperor, the Dragon Mountain Emperor, the Scarlet Cloud Emperor, and the others in history, Emperor Dongbua. Of course, in the hearts of many transcendents of the Xia people, Emperor Dongbua, who had turned the tide and killed 3 deity avatars, was destined to be the most dazzling figure in the history of the Xia people. Moreover, he would become the lord of the material world, forever protecting the Xia people. Within Crimson Rock Mountain, Dongbua Shuiying's avatar was here. Upon seeing his 2 world deity senior apprentice brothers, the 3 of them sat down to drink and chat. Both the true body and the avatar had the same soul and body, and it was impossible to tell the difference. You've become a deity? The thick-robed senior apprentice brother Gubai revealed a smile. Which deity heart did you choose as your true deity heart? Star, Dongbua Shuiying said. Ah. The thick-robed youth, Gubai, and the scarlet-cloaked youth, He Feiyun, were both somewhat surprised. Why did you choose the star deity heart? Aren't you going to refine the world heart? I should have chosen the mirage deity heart. Dongbua Shuiying smiled and said, even if I don't choose the mirage deity heart to refine the realm heart, I'm still confident that I can refine it. I have 3 grade 2 deity hearts and I can compare them with each other. I already have an idea of how to break through to the next level of the Mirage Deity Heart. I feel that I have more confidence in evolving the Star Deity Heart into the Chaotic Deity Heart, so I chose this path. He felt ashamed. He had to hide the fact that he had grasped the true meaning of the world. He had to keep it a secret. Comprehending a grade 1 true meaning, not concealing it would be equivalent to courting death. Sai, you should have told us before making your choice. The thick-robed youth shook his head. The Chaos Deity Heart and the World Deity Heart are both grade 1 deity hearts, and they are very balanced in all aspects. However, there are still some differences. The World Deity Heart was good at controlling the world and could be used to condense a world true body. It was even better at preserving one's life. Even though the Chaotic Deity Heart is formidable, it is more suited for combat. The path of cultivation is very long, so it's better to be better at preserving one's life. I'm a realm lord, so my true body will remain in my hometown. Even if my avatar dies in battle, I can still refine another avatar. It's already very formidable at preserving one's life. Dongbo Shuang laughed. The scarlet-cloaked youth He Fei Yun nodded. Junior disciple, when do you plan to go to the deity world? 1,000 years later, Dongbo Shuang replied. So early? The two senior disciples were startled. The scarlet-cloaked youth said, why don't you cultivate to become a world deity before going to the deity world? With your comprehension abilities, you should be able to become a world deity within 1,000,000 years or so. The forefathers saved my wife, Dongbo Shuang said. At that time he told me that 1,000 years later, the Bloodshed God Palace will hold a grand event, and I can use this opportunity to become a disciple of a powerful existence. Since the forefather said so, I feel that it's better for me to participate. Forefather? Goodbye and He Fei Yun both nodded. Back then they had begged the forefather to save Dongbo Shui Ying's wife. Since the forefather said so, that's fine. The Bloodshed God Palace's myriad flower feast will gather countless deity experts from the deity world. It'll be of great help to you if you participate. Once you become a disciple of a powerful existence, you'll be able to improve quickly. The thick-robed youth sighed. It's a pity that Master is already dead. Even though you're already an inner disciple, you can't receive any guidance. The scarlet-cloaked youth nodded. The path of cultivation is very difficult. My second senior disciple and I might have decent talent, but without Master's guidance, we might barely become stage 1 world deities. With Master's guidance, our cultivation speed is even faster, and we're both stage 2 world deities now. Junior disciple Snow Eagle, your talent is slightly higher than ours, but without the guidance of a powerful existence, becoming a world deity within 1,000,000 years will be a stage 2 world deity? The chances are slim, and becoming a stage 3 world deity is nothing more than a dream. Let alone a stage 4 world deity who can rival powerful existences. Stage 4 world deities? The thick-robed youth's eyes were filled with envy. That's someone who can stand on equal footing with powerful existences. In the eyes of stage 4 world deities, we're nothing more than small fries. They can easily wipe us out. Wipe us out. And with just a single move. The scarlet-cloaked youth shook his head. Stage 4 world deities were indeed too terrifying. In truth, their realms were very close to that of powerful existences. It was just that they were stuck at the world deity realm, unable to take that final step. I've heard that those heaven-defying transcendents can comprehend a grade 1 true meaning and easily grasp a grade 1 deity heart. They're practically destined to become stage 4 world deities. The thick-robed youth shook his head. The gap is just too big. Such a peerless grade 1 true meaning transcendent will only appear once in the entire deity world and dark abyss, the scarlet-cloaked youth said. I'm afraid that the moment they appear, powerful existences will rush over to take them as disciples. Dongbo Shuiying obediently nodded to the side. Formidable, truly formidable. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.